This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the XNC Podcast live. Welcome to the XNC Podcast, powered by Manscaped. This is going to be great.
I forgot about that.
I cannot wait to do I had to have Dealer here because I think he's going to have some fun playing.
Do you or someone you know have a crotch? Yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Yes, thank you for joining us. I'm here with Dealer, of course. And hopefully you got to check us out on Xbox too. It's always good when we get together. Crazy fun can happen. But thank you all for checking out the show. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about the gaming news. It's Monday, so things actually kind of fell into the lap of people who are paying attention to the gaming news. I didn't think anything was going on, but yeah, this stuff kind of avalanched in today, didn't it, Dealer?
Sure did. And as Capone says, yes, I did put out a new video today. Thanks for watching it, buddy, if you did. And again, Colt, since you're taking too long to do it, I just want to say hi to everybody and hit the like button, guys. Share it out. Help us out a little bit. We do appreciate you.
This is what happens when you get a podcast expert on your show. They just kind of take the reins. But thank you so much. I mean, I'd like to wave to everybody in the chat, all my good friends here who are hanging out, and you want to know what the heck is going on. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Phil Spencer did an interview where he talked about some stuff that we're going to bring up that's pretty interesting. And there's just been some, I just thought January was going to be a little slow, but there's been some news.
Hey, man, I'm glad gaming industry came to life this week. We needed it.
We did. Yeah, it's like when you're running a show or you're trying to make videos or you just want to get on social media and talk about gaming stuff when there's nothing going on and they're sleeping, in the corner. Like you're not going to have a whole lot of fun. But I also put out a video today. I think, Dealer, I haven't checked out your video, but I think we covered the same thing.
I covered five things. Maybe.
Okay, I covered a couple of things. I think some of my stuff overlaps. This is what happens when I'm like, hey, Dealer, did you make a video?
Sure did. Now, does you or someone you know have a crotch? When are we getting to this Manscaped intro? I need to hear it.
We will get into it in just a second. I should... I like to kind of give people an idea what we're going to talk about so they know if they're going to stick around for some good stuff. But there's a game that's been delayed. There's another game that's going to take you 500 hours. We're going to talk about some of the Xbox games. We're going to talk a little bit, if you'll excuse us, Dealer and I are going to talk a little bit about PlayStation as it relates to Xbox today. Some really good stuff. And we'll talk about what Phil Spencer had to say in a New York Times article. And it's just going to be a really good show. So if you're going to have fun, if you think you're going to enjoy the show, you can move the chat out of the way, hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button if you want. No one can see it. And we'll have a good time. But Dealer, how have you been this week? Have you been playing video games?
I just poured out a 40 for the dislike button. It hit right on the ground, just like the movies, too. Isn't that an unfortunate thing? Yeah, I've been playing a ton of video games. F1 2021, as you know, we played a little bit of that today. I've already gone through one or two seasons on that, beat the campaign. There's actually a story mode in that called Breaking Point.
Wait, you beat the campaign already?
Yes, it's called Breaking Point. If you guys haven't played it, click on that, not the career. Breaking Point's the actual cutscene-driven story, and then you can do the career later, especially in two-player co-op. It's a blast. But yeah, I've been playing a ton of stuff, man, and I'm excited for Dying Light 2 coming out soon.
Yeah, because you actually just finally sat down and finished the first one. It's my favorite game of last generation. It's like way up there. Yeah, it's way up there in the Xbox One like echelon of games that we played. It's one of my favorites. It kind of came out of nowhere. It came from, it was like the baby of Dying Light that was campy, and it was like, made by the same guys. And they just thought, hey, can we do this better? We take some of the cheese out. It's a good game. Yeah. So,
too bad they don't know how to market.
So
we'll talk about some of their blunders later in the show.
Yeah, they're really like kind of messing this up. They're, you know, when you try to brag, you're like, "Hey, check out these pipes," and we'll get into that in a minute. But
check out these pipes. Yeah, check out these pipes.
Check out these this title, this right here, and I got another title, this over here. But hey, just for fun to kind of warm up the show, let's get into today's sponsor, which is Manscaped. And you know what? And I thought, you know, Rand and Jez do this, but they don't have cameras on. But check this out. Check it out. Hold on, let me show you one more thing. I could show you all this stuff, but this is the funny one. You can trim your nose hairs with this thing. So, but yeah, we won't do a demonstration. But
do you like to go north to south, or what do you do?
You have to follow. You have to go with the grain.
Take a little whiff. You know, this is much better than mine, where my next sponsor is going to be Orvo's remote control can openers. You know, so guys, just enjoy. If you or someone you know has a crotch, then go ahead and redeem this code that Colt's going to hand out.
I thought you were going to get the Bob's Rubber Band Emporium like sponsorship. Yeah, that wasn't on my show, but that was like my very first ad back in the day, like 12 years ago on YouTube. I had a little banner at the bottom. It's like Bob's Rubber Band Emporium, and I made like $20 on a video. It's amazing. But
fire.
Here's the ad read dealer. You're going to love this. Some of it they wrote, but most of it I wrote, and I think it's going to be fun. But the XNC podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. Here's to 2022 and new resolutions you can actually keep. Set your first New Year's resolution with good intentions. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. With their exclusive offer on manscaped.com, you can use the code Colteastwood to get 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped sent me the lawnmower trimmer. That was the big one. And products
for those very rough weeks, you know, just in case you're having a little trouble.
Yeah, there's a burn, and then you know, everything you can use inside and outside the shower, and it's actually really nice stuff. So if you want to smell manly, or smell manly, for those of you who know your Rocky 2 references, this is like good stuff for if you're a dude. I think if you're anybody, you could use this stuff. But as we get older, you know, some of the hair on your head may start to go away, but the stuff in other places doesn't. And
don't generalize everybody. You know, some people are balding down there as well. You know, so go ahead. My bad.
Zucker we were talking to, where he's just he's just a very fast.
He actually started balding in reverse, crotch up. It's really weird.
The eyebrows were like.
So you said over 4 million men already kind of rock out with this brand and trust it, right?
Yeah.
Well, so what's wrong with the other 3.8 billion? Like, what they get cut? What happened to those guys?
Are there that many men? I mean,
statistically, sure. No, probably not. But
you know, you might be actually pretty right. Somebody Google that for us. But so this thing is waterproof. You can use it in and out of the shower. It helps to reduce cuts and nicks and other kinds of danger for your danger zone. So also it's cordless, kind of like an Xbox controller, and lasts probably a little bit longer. The Manscaped trimmer is for your X spot, as we would say. But thanks to this partnership in the XNC podcast, you can click the link in the description. Also have a comment posted and pinned. Tried to kind of think of that. But you can get 20% off by using Colteastwood, and that's the Manscaped ad. And now we can get into the hot gaming news that doesn't have to do with this.
I'm sorry. I did interrupt the promo, and I for a second, it was such a dynamic, well done promo that I thought we were just having a conversation about balls. And I jumped in there just trying to talk about it with you. But I mean, I think it's pretty well. Your first podcast promo. And
it's fun. It's fun stuff.
You know, what's the code again for the site? I'm about to cop some.
You just write Colteastwood in for the code, and you get 20% off, and then you don't have to pay for shipping.
Ooh.
Which, in a world when you can't leave your house, but you want everything to look really great. Someone, Capono in the chat says, do you have hair in places you don't want hair? I'm not sure I can answer that right now, but
do you know someone that has hair and somewhere you don't want it? Go ahead and shave their hair off, you know?
Just do whatever you want to sleep and use the Manscaped lawnmower. But yeah, well, let's get off started here with the good news, right? We got Phil Spencer is talking about console sales. So he claims, we don't have the numbers, but he claims that the Xbox Series S and X, the console dealer that you don't need because you already had the One X and you've got PC and you can play your games on your phone or on your television or on your refrigerator or toaster.
Hell yeah.
That console is outsold any Xbox console in history.
How weird.
How
What a weird thing that people just want to play where their friends are in the ecosystem they prefer with flexibility like cross-buy and cross-save. Yeah, you know how many people took away something like cross-buy, something that's so pro-consumer, something that Sony themselves used to do, and use that as a reason not to get an Xbox? Haha, you're not locked into one piece of plastic. You know, I say, hey, that's an option, and I think that's a thing consumers look at for their value. I get an Xbox version, get a PC version. You know, it's no surprise that this platform, this vision that they have led to charge on for 5-6 years, has kind of superseded expectations.
It's crazy because we're talking about really that whole thing where you don't need an Xbox, and it's like such a wooden dagger right in the heart for anybody who thinks that console sales are like the be all end all. But you and I, when we look back at the 360, I tried to look up the numbers. The Xbox 360 took off. It launched before the PlayStation. It did really well, and it sold, according to one of my sources I looked at on the internet, was like just under 7 million in the first year. And Phil Spencer's claim is that in the first calendar year, it has outsold every Xbox console, even outselling in the month last month in December because of Halo Infinite, even though the console had been out an entire year, which is
so you're saying last month it did better? Did it do better than the month that it launched in?
Yes, that's what he's saying. Yeah, December 2021. I always have to try to remember what year we're in. December 2021 sales were higher for Xbox Series S and X than they were December of 2020 when the console was brand new.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Because they had millions available near launch, which is nuts.
I mean, did they have more available at launch than they did last month?
I mean, apparently they sold more last month than they had at launch. So, I mean, that's something that I would like to continue to see happen. And I think during a time, and we've covered this too, I'm sure you've covered this on RDX, we've talked about how, you know, Series S is literally here to stiff arm somebody in the middle of a purchase of a PS5. They can produce two of those for basically the cost of one chip. For a Series X, they can produce with that silicon a 20 CU chip, two Series S's at obviously $300. It's a hell of a deal. They're selling a ton of those things. That's literally why they're there, and that's helping them really do quite well. Colteastwood.
Well, it's weird. Like, so you're saying like somebody might go in looking for a PS5, and then they get the other white colored console, and they go home with the Series S. Like,
I mean, we've seen it. People that can't get either that are coming home with Series S's, and they're blown away, or they're very surprised. Right? Shout out to Giant Bray Harris, Brian J. Harris. Who did actually tagged us today or yesterday talking about a Series S. Now he's happy with it. Now it performs his old console in every single way for less money, and he's just blown away at how these games look. That's kind of what they're going for with that.
Yeah, he's been talking to us for like a year about trying to find a Series X and can't get one, and then he plugs in the Series S. He's super happy about it. So funny you said Giant Bray. That's actually we're gonna start
to Brian. You know, we're not
really
always able to get right back to him, but we trust him when we see it, bro. We always try. So
yeah. So the performance is a big deal. People are wondering about. There's those comparisons of the Series S visually to One X, the 2017 console, and I think some of that's going to start changing.
Hey, it depends, man. You got games with ray tracing, global illumination at 60 frames per second on the Series S, and I'm talking about Metro, one of the best looking games of all time, 60 FPS full ray trace global illumination on that console.
You're
this
not
is
even
just the
getting
beginning.
60 on the One X, like you.
No,
it's stuck at 30.
CPU's just not quick enough to hand the frames to the GPU. Basically, think of it that way. And you're stuck at lower frame rates. You're stuck at lower visual fidelity ultimately. And while it does target a lower resolution for far less money, you're talking way faster load times, better graphics, especially on games that are patched for it. And this is without any of the features like FSR and mesh shaders, all the stuff that this box can actually do. And very few games are even utilizing the 20 CUs where the ray tracing there either. So this is just the beginning, guys. And it's a slow launch, Colt, because of this damn pandemic and everything. You know, we've all been through hell. And, it can't be helped. Honestly, that's just the bottom line. It can't be helped as a slow launch, but it's got a reason for that. And I think that's the case for every console out right now. They're just now kind of hitting the stride a year later, starting to get into things.
I actually did quite a bit of research this weekend about why the consoles are out. It's not just the silicon shortage, dealer. One of the major problems is the trucking business and the trucks that carry the freight containers. Like, they can't get them off the trucks. They're stuck on ports. They're stuck on boats. They can't get enough people to unload and load up. So there's actually product that's sitting in ports or on ships that
on
can't
top of
even
the
get
ship
onto a
shortage.
chassis. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. It is. And too, that double the production for their lower end console over their higher end one. You got to put emphasis on it. At least I meant to do it earlier. It's a genius tactic by Microsoft to double up production and get twice the consoles out there for the same silicon during a global chip shortage. So, it makes perfect sense as to why they're kind of shifting manufacturing more so over to that thing. And we were kind of asking ourselves, why are they doing that? Give us the X, right? Give us the X.
Yeah, for the hardcore.
I get it, and trust me, I still think that way. But ultimately, if you only got so much silicon to work with, everyone's snatching it up. There are parking lots full of cars waiting on chips. Everyone's snatching it up. You're going to build more consoles for what's possible right now during a chip shortage. You're going for Series S all day long as a manufacturer.
And we're going to see this go on for another year, I think. But I've got some supers here. Mac Diesel says, dealer, take off the hood and show your face like Clayton Bixby.
Aha! Clayton Bixby. Don't bring Clayton into this now.
Oh my gosh. Bone Dead Fossil 48, thank you for the $5. He says, hey, Colt, Take Two Interactive, $12.7 billion deal. He says, I don't know. We'll get into that in a minute. I won't spoil the rest of what he said. Our buddy, Dark CMF, we're just hanging out with him on Party Chat a few days ago. He says, really excited to wish a happy birthday to Gaz.
It is Gaz's birthday. Wish him a happy birthday, everybody.
Everybody go DM him and send him a message on Discord. Then he says, and also for the show tonight, no shortage of fun. Guaranteed. Hit that like button. Yes, please hit the like button if you're having fun. It lets us know that we're doing all right.
Yeah,
and
shout
DJ
out to Dark.
Shout out to Dark CMF. And DJ with the 5 says, does the lawnmower suffer from stick drift?
Depends on what kind of lawnmower. You got one of them zero radius ones, or
he's talking about the Manscaped lawnmower. Yeah.
Man,
you better drift the stick when you.
Can you get 30 yards away from? What are they? You said it holds the charge longer than the Xbox controller. That's not bad, man.
Yeah, it's not. Yes, I mean, I don't know about the Elite V2, but I think it's going head to head with the.
Did you ask Rand how long it took him to shave down there or something? Is that how you know the battery life on it? 30 hours. Yeah. Shout out to Manscaped.
Yeah, thank you. And 20% off at Colteastwood for the code. But Mac Diesel with another one says, dealer, let's run some Halo gamer tag. Are you ready? Everybody in the chat can add him on the Xbox. His gamer tag is GSX.
No, add me, okay? I space dealer space I, okay? And then shoot me a message, and if you're not creepy for a decent amount of time.
It's capital I, right?
It doesn't matter on Xbox. So you can just be I space dealer space I.
Okay. Yeah. So, if you want to add him, he's GSX at Mac Diesel, DEEZIL. It's in the game. One more. Moby with the $5. Thank you. Says, I got X and C in my right ear. Got one in my left. And watching the national championship game, everybody hit that like button to show some love. All right, dealer, let's talk about one last thing about the supply is Phil has this quote. I'll read it for you. That kind of goes along with what you said. He said, supply is actually as big as it's ever been. It's that demand is exceeding the supply. At this point, we've sold more of this generation of Xboxes, which is Xbox Series X and S, than we have any previous version of Xbox, which is absolutely freaking crazy.
During a shortage where they can't meet demand, a year later, they've already outsold every single Xbox in history up to this point in that Xbox's life cycle.
So here's a tough question I have for you, dealer. No one knows the answer, but I'll just take what could be your opinion. Who's making more consoles? Like if you have the PlayStation factory here and the Xbox factory here, who's got more going out the door?
I would say Sony because for one, they require less silicon overall because they have one console that does require less silicon than Series X, but a little bit more than Series S. Silicon. And they've also, we all know this PS5 as capable as it is. Yeah. And again, as the generation goes on, they start to need more from the CPU. That GPU will suffer, as developers have confirmed on my show even. This is a thing that's going to happen. As the generation goes on, you'll start to see that it's, hey, it's still great, But there's a reason it's $100 less than its base model than the Series X, which has all these features that the other system doesn't have. We've said it a million times. Bottom line is PS5 is supposed to come out in 2019. They've done a great job ramping this thing up and sticking a supercharger on this damn thing with some with T1000 in there and a boat-sized propeller as a fan. And by the way, those plates are really worth it. I got those red plates. Those things are fire, man. I put them up on Twitter. You can use some plates, Colteastwood.
I know. I'm going to get some plates. I'm going to buy 2 sets. So dealer's got the 2 red plates with the black stock gloss black in the middle, right? You go check it out on his Twitter like
on
3 days ago. On his Twitter. So yeah, that's really cool. I was thinking, dealer's like, I know you, Colt. You're going to buy 2 sets. Get blue on one side, red on the other side, because you look like a moron on your picture. Yeah. So I don't know. I might. I don't know. Sick of that those white flaps down there. I'm looking down at it right now. It's weird looking, but I don't know. Let's see. We have to put in a little bit of bad news, I suppose. Just a little bit. But there's a rumor, dealer, that the big first-person shooter, like the graphics juggernaut, Stalker 2, is not releasing in April. Rumors are that it's coming out in autumn or fall of this year in 2022. Have you looked into this at all?
We got to quadruple clarify. Rumors, and it comes from a source closer to the developer's location?
Yeah. Well, hang on. So they're saying my mic needs to come up just a bit. Audio. Let's see. How do I do that?
I think they're talking about the way
There we go.
You've got it set up, Colteastwood.
I'm probably bad. I brought it up a little bit. Just let me know if that helps out. But
I think you're clipping now.
I'm clipping now?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Everybody, chat. CAD100S. Buy it. It's a good microphone. No, I'm just messing with Colt. Colt's still tuning this stuff. But yeah, I think this stuff comes from a source closer to the developer, right? So it's not even in English, but it's something that I did see pop up. And we wanted to kind of bring it up and see if anyone in the chat had heard anything or seen anything. We have viewers all around the world that watch these things. So if you do know anything about this, let us know.
So, I mean, isn't this one of those things when you hear rumors about a delay, they almost always come true, it seems like.
Why you got to jinx Stalker 2?
I don't know.
Why you got to jinx Tim Dog Best Buy Stalker 2? I'm kidding. We love Tim Dog. But I was looking forward to Stalker 2, man. I mean, I want this to come out.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I went to the site and it's all in Russian. I didn't hit the translate button. Take it with a grain of salt, but I don't know. This game's supposed to come out in April of this year. We've seen just a little bit of gameplay in last year's showcase for E3. So keep your eyes peeled for what's supposed to happen. But one thing we do have an update on is Scorn, the game that you've given so many jokes about on your show and in your videos, the dripping wall of death and
wall dribble.
Weird. The wall dribble.
It's on PC, right? It's
already on Steam, or at least you can get a early access version on Steam, as far as I know.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what's going on with that game. I know that it's really weird. I did a skit where obviously there's some umbilical cord sucking action in the game, and I took full advantage of that in the video. But yeah, I think it's kind of odd, but I saw the PC version running at what I would assume is ultra settings. Looked fantastic, man.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like kind of a slow game. You kind of lumber around and a creature will come at you and you're like, okay, I'll go left instead. I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. And I know it'll look really cool on the new console, on the Xbox. It's next gen only, and the developer said we could only do this with the power of the Series S and X. So I don't know what they're putting in there that makes that happen, but
I don't know if it's even true, really. But maybe their know-how doesn't enable them to bring it to older consoles. But game design wise, I haven't really seen anything crazy that it's doing.
Well, I mean, I would be happy if the developer said, we just don't want our game at 30 frames, and that's why we don't want to put it on old consoles, but maybe they just want to move forward. But they did tweet today, their official account, like 3 or 4 hours ago, that they want you to keep your eyes out for updates in this coming month, and the game's supposed to come out in October of 2022. Just another first-person shooter on the Xbox.
A first-person shooter where you use teeth and bones as bullets, okay? You can't just graze over that.
Yeah, it is super weird. Like, the guns are made out of, like, a pelvic bone, and you
like a living creature looking, I don't know, guys. It's one of those things where you can't really describe it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hot, though.
I don't know. It's so weird. I will try and get the audio. Dealer's louder than I am. I don't know if you can turn yourself down a little bit, but if I turn myself up, I'll clip. But
am I loud? I think he's referring to just the clarity of the voice.
Yeah, probably.
That's what he said.
Yeah. But that's Scorn. We'll see that in a while. I can, we'll wait on that one, but we got to talk about Techlands. They got real excited about sharing this Dying Light 2 news, and they put out this infographic, like, straight up. The game is going to be 500 hours if you want to do full completion, and people have been going crazy for the past 3 days on this. You just finished Dying Light 1, so how did you react to 500 hours?
Well, I immediately learned that it was 20 hours.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that, right? Now, here's what they did, right? On Twitter, they're like, look, guys, if you want to beat the game, it's 500 hours, 500 smackaroos. And then, like, a day later, they're like, okay, guys, if you really want to just beat the missions and stuff, it's like 80 hours. And then a week later, / a day later, they're like, okay, the damn story is like 20 hours. And if you want to do all the side missions of the story and some other crap, it's 80 hours. And then if you want to do everything and literally mow the grass on top of it, it's 500 hours. It's like, we already knew. Like, people will lie about the length of your game for you. You don't need to do that, right? Yeah. I mean, how many times you play a game, like, I get 15, 20,000 hours out of it. It's really a 9-hour game. But people stop and they go, and it's like Guardians, right? Guardians, I got like 30 hours out of easy, but two people ran through it in like 12 hours, 15 hours, because I like to kind of explore and stuff. So they kind of, what were they doing, Colt? Were they trying to market it? They even made a little graphic. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they did. They put up a little graphic trying to break down all the different ways you can play the game. So, yeah, it just becomes a whole big mess, because this is the problem, because it just came out this week that Halo Infinite is like a 10.5 average playtime, because that one site that does how long does it take to beat a game gave their official announcement. And so you've got Dying Light trying to say, if you do everything, it's 500 hours, but 500 hours is not a selling point. That's actually going to be off-putting for how long you're going to spend playing a game. So I don't know. This is just one of those things where, how long did you spend when you beat Dying Light 1?
I think I've got like 25, maybe 30 hours, but that's counting the following. By the way, Cole, someone says, just put your mic back to where it was, man. You did sound better before. Oh, okay. You sounded better before you messed with it. Yeah, probably like 30 hours, and I ran through Dying Light. Thank Jason Ronald's beard for going back and programming FPS boost into Dying Light, because without that, I would not have been able to play that game shimmering at 900p or whatever it is. And two, it's got auto HDR, so it made it so much easier to go back through with that 2 to 4 player co-op, especially, and experience and enjoy Dying Light like I had never beat that game before, and it was a blast.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I got way more time into it. I did the full expansion and everything, and what the heck would you be doing in Dying Light 2 where you're going to be spending 500 hours? Like, what? I don't understand what the completionist stuff is. And people are getting worried that this Dying Light thing is becoming like the next Cyberpunk or another problem, because the game's kind of been held off, and now they're finally ready to release it. So Greg Miller from Kind of Funny Games was saying that, like, their PR is a nightmare. They're scrambling right now to make their player base happy, because they made this mistake of bragging about 500 hours. Shout out to Fonz in the chat.
Fonzarelli. Hey, yeah, I mean, honestly though, they are kind of taking the world's tiniest 357 Magnum and just shooting their toes off one by one every time they post about the game leak at this point. Making a graphic was kind of weird. It kind of felt like somebody sniffed some markers and got bored and got on Twitter, and they like, well, you know what? Let me make a graphic about this and just make it way worse. Ultimately, if anybody's freaking out about this and trying to compare it to Cyberpunk, No, like what did you expect? I expected to get 35, 40 hours out of this game, a playthrough, and you will, especially if you're playing with friends, and that's what you'll get. I don't see any other reason to be concerned. As a matter of fact, I am actually more excited for the game than I mean, after beating Dying Light, I went in and I looked, and they just released like a month ago, they released 14 minutes of Dying Light 2 footage, gameplay, just pretty much straight gameplay at 4K 60 FPS, and it looks really, really good. Like, it looks fun.
Yeah, I've watched they've put out probably an hour total of gameplay for that game. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff to look at. I'm just a big fan. So I don't know. Gosh, I'm such a completionist. Like, what do you do when you tackle games like that? Because I want to try and get everything out of it. I try to do all the side stuff before I start doing the main missions. So I'm going to run up to a problem here where I feel like I'm going to leave in the game like half done or 10% done. I don't know, 50 hours. Can you imagine doing 50 hours and you're like, yeah, that's 10% completion on the.
I would say, no, I'm not going to go hunt down pigeons or find the little secret notes from some guy in a bathroom stall and do 10 of that and then bring it to some guy in a dumpster and he gives me a token for a free gun. Like, that's not a mission. That's not anything that I concern myself with in a game. And I think that's what most of that 500 hours would be. I think realistically, AAA, quality type side missions, interesting things to do, reasons to spend your time there, because that's one thing you can't pay any amount of money to get back in life. You're going to want to spend 50, 60, 100 hours in this game, maximum, most likely. And that's all I expect, reasonably. I don't see why anybody would expect.
Yeah.
But don't even bring up 500 hours. It's just dumb. Just don't even bring it up. Let people figure that out on their own and be like, holy crap, this game is huge. And that's kind of a word of mouth thing that kind of feeds into itself over time. But 500 hours expectations, I'm realistically just ridiculous expectations that the game was never designed to hit.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about Dying Light 1, I liked all the side quests. I don't know if it's just happy memories, but when I play it, like each side quest is good. Like, I liked when you talk to the people and some of the things they had you do. I felt like they were creative. I felt like they didn't kind of repeat the same thing. It wasn't like copy pasted and procedurally generated stuff. But then I feel like 500 hours, you got to have a bunch of procedurally generated stuff. And recently I was playing again Mass Effect 1 and I landed on Planet, and this is like a DLC expansion part, but it has you drive the Mako over all these mountains. It takes a long time to do. It's a pain in the butt to get to a location, scan something, go over and talk to somebody, and then go across the other side of the planet. And the point I'm getting at is, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm only driving the Mako for maybe 4 minutes, but it's the most unfun 4 minutes of a game. And I just don't want to see Dying Light do that because it's a really good game. But
the little missions where you find that like random chick in a hut and then you go back to the Normandy. Yeah, that kind of wasted. That's why they didn't really do that stuff in Mass Effect 2. And hopefully Dying Light, Techland kind of learned from this decade-old lesson.
Yeah, this was one of those, I don't know. You just learn that because Mass Effect 1 just had so much bloated stuff. Then they honed it in. I don't want to see Dying Light go the other way. Risk It for the Biscuit, who's been a member for 5 months, says, I think that Manscaped might be interested in doing promos on Lawnmower Simulator. Could have Colts. Oh, gosh. NFT. NFT. Oh, my gosh. Straddling one of those bad boys cutting the grass. This is a podcast and a channel where we don't talk about NFTs, thankfully, because they'll bore me to death. Dark CMF has been a member for 11 months. Thank you, Dark CMF. Says, according to the UN, there are 3.7 billion men in the world.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
I was pretty close.
3.776 billion.
So round up, close. There's 3.8 billion. Yeah. And since I just said that, there's probably 3.8 billion, 3.4 billion. Who knows?
So a couple more just hatched.
Yeah.
He said data suggests that most of them do indeed have shavable areas. Now, Chris R with the $5 says, my wife and I are moving into our first house, and I'm legit considering a Series S for the other room. Now, just to convince her, he says, have a great show. It's $300. If you have an Xbox One X at home, GameStop will take it. Even if you're not a Power member, cash in hand, $300. Turn around and order a Series S, and you're done. And that's advice from our buddy Forte. Forte told me that a couple.
$300, huh?
If you're a Power Up member, he said it's only $15, so you can get $315 for in-store cash or in-store credit at GameStop, and then just order a Series S for them. And
isn't that nuts? Because they aren't making those old systems anymore, right? You can't go to Walmart buying these things on a shelf next to the horse saddles. That's how in demand gaming is right now, is where people are selling a 5-year-old console and getting $300+ for this old thing with roach turds in the power supply. Colts has roaches in it. And, getting $300+ for this thing. It's insane. Like, that's how much GameStop wants your money, because they don't have any. Everyone's buying these things.
Yeah, Gaming Forte's in the chat. He told me, and if I'm saying this right, he says it's $330 if you're a Power Up member, but the Power Up membership costs you $15 if you're not. So he's like, he said something, he did some math and it went right over my head. Just said, just do it. But shout
out to Forte. I actually just got another Series X through him.
Oh, you
so
did?
That'll be here on Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, you'll be able to keep the whole house warm with just Xbox.
Yeah,
consoles.
just plant them around. Yeah.
So let's see. So that's Dying Light 2. We could talk a bunch about the game. I'm looking forward to it, but that 500 hours thing, that was a mess. So there are more exclusives coming to the Xbox, and you missed this one because it's only on PC, but apparently Age of Empires is coming sometime this year, maybe in the summer, to the Xbox console. That means it'll have controller support. Now, you've played these games in the past, right? Like, you know your way around the Empire series, right?
Yeah. And I know that Microsoft sent you and I review codes for that game, and we basically said, no, we're not interested until it comes to console. Almost same thing as I did it. We both did with Gears Tactics. Played some of it, we knew it was quality, but ultimately didn't review the game because we knew it was coming to console. And shout out to Tim Dog, who was the first one to say 100%. That's their plan, is to bring this game to Xbox, and I'll be playing the hell out of Age of Empires when it hits console, because it's more than doable. It's not cumbersome if you do it intelligently. Look at games like Supreme Commander 2 on the 360, one of the best RTSs of all time. They could do these things, and they're proving it by bringing this game to console, and I'll be playing it day one. Colt, how about you?
I've never played it before, so can you play it in co-op?
Yeah, you can actually do like 8 or more factions or countries, whatever kind of faction you want to be. And then, we can be allies versus, since Risk It for the Biscuits in the chat, the Australians, go against the Australians, just double up on the Australians. Now, shout out to Risk It, but
block them, right?
You can do cooperative, kind of build your nation up, build walls, build defenses, upgrade through the ages, and send troops at each other. If you're under attack, you got caught with your pants down because you're too busy manscaping. You need some troops, right? I got a whole cavalry unit that's just sitting here guarding, some flank. I could send you reinforcements across the map, and kind of like Lord of the Rings when Gandalf, that old, I can't say fuck on the show, but that old guy comes over the hill and he saves everybody, right? That's me in Age of Empires.
So you guys don't know this, but like behind the scenes, like dealers taught me how to play some of these games that I never messed around. Cause there was like a period in the early 2000s where I didn't play games like these RTSs, and dealer gets me in a party chat. Like, all right, Colt, you got to pay attention, put your phone down, get your big brain out. And he tries to show me how to play games like Halo Wars 2 and stuff like that are kind of new to me. So I think we're going to probably have to have a lesson session on.
But either way, I think we can both agree that if a game says Xbox Game Studios or Xbox Game, whatever, Xbox anything, it needs to be on Xbox and as soon as possible. Not just PC. They're not the same thing. That's clear. They are the same ecosystem. But, console guys like myself, console, or I'm probably not going to want to spend much time there.
So what's the rush to put Gears Tactics and Flight Simulator and Age of Empires on PC first? I know Phil Spencer said he wants to make sure that they're doing right by the PC community. They've kind of lagged behind for like a decade. And now, is that like his piecemeal? Like, we'll get you these games as soon as they're ready, and then we'll make the Xbox guys wait.
I think I think what started out initially as Splash Damage saying, "Hey, we need more time to kind of get this out. We're kind of running short on Gears Tactics with PC. We'll get the console version out when we have the controls down and obviously optimize the port." I think what started out as that is now serving a dual purpose of, we've got to release 1 year on PC. We've got it coming around again, double dipping and marketing and kind of filling a slot in Game Pass again on console. But first and foremost, I think it starts with we need a little time to get that console version optimized for controls. And as they get better with this, because Microsoft, this is the first RTS they're bringing to console since I can remember. Gears Tactics is a turn-based strategy. This is a real-time strategy.
Right.
As they make more of these and bring more to console, I expect those dates to coincide a bit more because there's no excuse. And when it comes to, enhancing or optimizing controls for controller support, you've done it. You know how to do it. Get it together.
And there's got to be a team that's got to do that, because I don't want to see that anymore. Because we deal with people, we argue with people sometimes, right? And they're like, "Oh, Flight Sim, that game's a port. It was already on PC. It's not exclusive." Then when it finally comes to Xbox, that's the kind of crap you have to deal with sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mess around on PC. I have a great PC over here. I have like a $1,300 PC down here, and I load up Flight Sim Dealer. That thing could barely run on my nice rig, and it was like a couple years old.
You have a 1070 in there.
Well,
it's basically in the fetal position, crying right there.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
PCs aren't cheap though.
Value is relative. Yes.
Yeah, it is relative. But Age of Empires coming to PC, and that coming to PC. If it's got an Xbox logo on it, is it going to be trash? But that game scored really well, didn't it?
No, it ain't. Does it have an Xbox logo? Is it going to be trash? It's that it needs to hit their Xbox as soon as possible and faster going in the future.
Yeah. Well, there is another Xbox game we got to talk about, and you and I kind of talked about today in our videos, and that's State of Decay 3. Apparently, a couple of insiders or people who have been talking to think they talked to somebody at Undead Labs, or maybe they talked to someone who, loads the cigarette machine outside the warehouse next to Undead Labs. I don't know what it was.
Well, it was LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really where a lot of this is coming from.
Well, there's a little bit of bad news in the middle of that. There's a couple pieces of news with State of Decay, but the first part of it was like the bad news, which people latch onto, is that the game is in a state of decay in development. Yeah,
it's so stupid. I saw somebody running with this, and I retweeted it, and they got defensive, obviously. And all I said was, I'm looking forward to the game. A lot of people are looking forward to the game. And when you were trying to kind of reorganize how you're doing things and come up with new ideas and reiterate and kind of transform the type of game that it is and its production values, the quality needs to raise. Obviously, we all know the woes of State of Decay 2. That takes time. And when God of War 2018 didn't come out for 5 years, no, I wasn't saying it was in development hell. I was saying, hey, they got to figure out a new way to make this interesting and kind of improve the quality of it. That's what they're doing with State of Decay to a lesser degree. It takes time to figure out what they want to do there, because State of Decay 2 was really what State of Decay 1 should have been. It's features that they almost added into State of Decay 1, actually. And they just made another game and kind of built from a new foundation of Unreal Engine. This is using Unreal Engine 5. They're planning on making it a much bigger game, and they want to be more competitive in more areas, and that includes production value, overall quality, and they're trying to implement new ideas. Jeff Strain left, right? He was leading the team.
Yep.
That's going to take time, man.
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, no, the creative director left,
That's like when Ralph Bolton wasn't leading the Playground team no more with Horizon 5, and everyone, a few people were like, what? But, ultimately, that's the best Horizon there's ever been.
Yeah, Horizon 5 came out amazing. Jeff, for those of you who haven't followed a lot of the Undead Labs stuff, because they've been super quiet, but Jeff Strain was the head of Undead Labs. He is from New Orleans. He worked in Seattle at the Undead Labs office, and he wanted to get back to the South to start a new studio while he could be next to his family, his wife's family, and all extended family. And I talked to somebody really close to Undead yesterday, a friend of mine. Dealer and I are always reaching out to people like this, but I said, hey, people are doom and gloom. I know you know better. And my friend said, yeah, he moved for family reasons. He's made sure everything was set before he left. And I also talked to somebody else who's like always likes to strike out with these new news breaks. And they said, I haven't heard anything about this development problems. So I don't know. Undead Labs in a good spot. We got a lot to talk about with what they're doing. I got a couple supers I got to get to here.
Yeah, and guys, I mean, he's trying to get to the super chats. You got to understand that, as much as we appreciate everybody checking out the show and stuff, the last thing Colt wants to do is, interrupt the show or the flow or the topic.
Last thing I want to do is interrupt Dealer.
No, I'm just saying, somebody, I deal with this, right? Like, I deal with it, super chat. You got 1,000, 2,000 people in the chat or whatever sometimes, and it's hard, man. And you got panel members. It's a little easier here, but Colt's definitely trying his hardest to get the super chats and stuff.
I've been doing RDX with you for like 4 years, and I can literally hear all the octopus arms of you like doing, run the show, take care of the panel members, do the super chats, order your food, eat it without. No, I'm just kidding.
Like somehow keep the conversation going. Don't mess up the topics. Don't mess up the dynamic. Right? Like I get it though. But yeah, go ahead.
We got Kate Forever, the $5. Thank you, Kate Forever. He says, now I'm sure we don't want politics in here, but you don't think the possible delay, I think he's referring to Stalker 2, could be due to the impending invasion of Russia into Ukraine. I haven't followed what's going on like globally, but I don't know. But guess what? Almost every game's getting delayed right now. I'll tell you that.
Remember, that's just a rumor too. Like there's a reason we placed emphasis on that. Please don't, how many times we say this could, we heard this or we saw this, a rumor. And people are like, they said this. It's like, no, we literally said we saw it on the internet before the show. And then we thought it was interesting. We figured we'd bring it up to the chat and see if you guys knew anything. But I hope it doesn't happen, man. Stalker 2, super impressive.
I mean, what they showed, I always encourage people to kind of look out and kind of pay attention to what you've seen, how things are going. 3 months before launch, it's very likely it could see some type of delay. There's plenty of time for them to delay and just instead of, they don't do that a couple weeks before, right? But also remember what we saw last year. We saw snippets of fully finished gameplay, little segments here, like the game's looking really good. So just wait till you hear more. But Roy Versace says, hey, Colt, love the show. I think you could try to get the Act Man on here for special guests. That would be dope. I've seen a lot of his stuff. He's been talking about Halo Infinite and what they need to fix. And he puts out a tweet and a bunch of people go crazy. I don't really know the guy, but thank you. Fire Shadow with the Australian $5 says, both you guys are legends down here in Australia. Been listening to RDX for years and XNC since his inception. This is episode 35, by the way. He says, thank you both for your content. Thank you for watching our videos. It means a lot. Like Dealer put out a video this morning. I put out mine just before his, and we sit there and we're like, oh, I hope people enjoy it. I hope people get the information. I hope they have fun watching it. And we appreciate
that. I hope people remember that I have 6 toes on 1 foot. You've got to watch the video to find out why.
Okay, I'll check that out tonight. Dark CMF again with the $5 supers. Thank you. He says someone gets to enjoy an unclaimed prize from RDX last week. Also, we tried to do a giveaway. He says Forza Horizon 5 Premium, and he has a code, but it is passed. But I've got it here. I don't know if
you can copy and paste it.
I've got a screenshot of it. I will figure out how to get that into the chat for my moderator. That's very cool. That's a $99 version of the game.
Yeah, that comes with the expansion packs and stuff, guys. So if you're thinking, oh, it's in Game Pass, who cares? That comes with 2 what are going to probably be pretty good expansion packs.
Yeah, and speaking of that expansion pack, we should be hearing about that pretty soon. Blizzard Mountain. Do you remember when that came out? Because I remember Hot Wheels came out in May after the launch.
Well, were there 3?
Or was it May the next year?
I'm thinking
May the next year. May the next year. So it should be sometime this spring, the first expansion, maybe the summer.
When did the first Horizon 2 expansion come out? That's the one I was thinking of, that Storm Island. Or
I don't remember Storm Island because I didn't buy it, but I do remember Blizzard Mountain, and I remember for sure Hot Wheels from 3 came out in May. Because I think it came out on my birthday. So
we've got Storm Island. We've got Blizzard Mountain. What are we gonna have? Like Hot Desert? Like what's the next pack to come out, Colt? Is it really hot public pool concrete? What are they gonna name this next one? What's it gonna be about?
My dreams for the Horizon 5 expansion are either Hot Wheels again, because that's fun. Or Micro Horizon, where I just don't think they'll do it, where they build a kitchen in a living room and you're shrunk down. But that Hot Wheels game just did that like last year.
That Hot Wheels game only exists because Horizon 3's Hot Wheels was so well received.
Yes.
They're like, crap, we need to make our own game. So they're probably not going to be able to do Hot Wheels again.
No, probably not. I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah. People say Micro Machines, Hot Wheels would be amazing. I don't know. They got to do something cool and really show us what they can do with those engines. I want them to show Fable, but we'll see. We got Hargit Chani, was just talking to him in the Xbox chat before the show started. We're having some good laughs. He says, with the amount of games coming out now, 500-hour game seems daunting. It would be a good amount for a decent-sized game. 15 to 20 hours is 50 too high. Dealers 50 hours too high for a open world action RPG?
A game like that, as they finally said in their little picture they made, is really only going to take you 20 hours to beat. If you want to go through the narrative and you want to go right through the story and only that, which I would never do that to a game like Dying Light 2 myself, right. That's 20 hours, they said. But if you want to do the side missions and all that, I'm estimating 40 hours. They said 80, but I've been through this enough to know that these companies do very rarely do you exceed their playtime or even come close to it. You know, God of War, I put like 35 hours into that playthrough. I was every single bit of it. I loved that game so much. It's got to be one of those circumstances where it's going to come close to that. So I would say 40 to 50 hours with the side stuff, but 20 Hargeet. If 50 is too much, you can do it in 20 Hargeet.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people when you're doing an open world game, you kind of try and do all the side stuff. When you feel like you're just getting sick of that stuff, go do a main mission and then you have fun, and you'll know. Don't worry, you'll know when it's time to move forward and finish the game. Let's see, we got our good friend KY Bob. Thank you for the $10 super. He's been a channel member for a long time, and we like to talk guitars. Oh, yeah. He says Dying Light was so much fun. The following expansion had a different feeling to it, added the city formula by giving you huge open landscapes. And KY Bob forgot to mention the Dune buggy. The Dune buggy was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Meat Puppet with the $5 says, when they bring Age of Empires to Xbox, will they include the Camaro cheat from PC? If anything goes wrong, it's all dealers' fault. What's the Camaro cheat from PC?
I think the game breaks down the side of the road. I'm not sure.
Like a true Ford fan.
Hey, I like them all, but you know, that new Camaro body style is just not for me. Let us know in the chat what you're into.
It's too short.
One of y'all likes Volvo. Just tell the truth.
Gaming Forte had to chime in as he gets his retail hat on and says $330 for the Pro, $300 for standard, $274 for cash. Oh, that was probably where I was messing it up. I was trying to say cash in hand or in-store credit. He says $240 standard price. Get your money. So it's $240 for the standard.
How long does that last? I can text him, but
I was gonna say when you were saying that, like these old consoles, I think obviously the Xbox One and Xbox One X and PS4, those are probably actually viable products that GameStop can sell because you can't find those consoles. And when the pandemic started, everyone just wanted a video game system in their house because they had nothing to do. So I think the One X and those consoles just have some value right now.
Bro, I got a PS4 Pro. I forgot about that paperweight in the closet. Actually, I got a Pro in the closet. I might actually do that, man. Go buy some Bug Snacks V-Bucks.
Yeah, I don't know if Forte's still hanging out in the chat, but let us know what the PS4 Pro.
He is.
Oh, yeah, he is. He just said something again. He says they change it now, $280 for the Pro, $255 for the standard. Man, that's not bad, actually.
Is that in cash or credit?
Or $224 for cash with Pro, or $204 standard. He has all this stuff memorized. Yes, a lot of people traded in and had to set the record straight. Yeah, that's crazy because I remember in 2017 when I got the Xbox One X dealer, I took my VCR Connect bundled Xbox One and I put it on eBay and it sold for $70. $70. And yeah, I didn't end up selling it. I decided not to sell it. I'm like, it's worth it. I had it plugged into an old RCA TV. It's worth it as a Roku. I wasn't going to sell it for 70. I still have it to this day. So
Joshua, did this goon just call the PS4 Pro paperweight? It's actually less than that. It actually isn't even weighing down paper right now, Joshua. So yeah, it's kind of just a piece of shit in my closet. So yeah, I'll go ahead and sell that for $200 something at GameStop. Thank you, Forte.
The old 30 and 45 FPS boxes. Yeah, for sure. Gosh, I'll tell you what.
BRR was needed back then.
Yeah, holy crap. Yeah, we're so lucky. People are complaining about graphics and performance. We're hitting 60 on almost every game. So speaking of your paperweight PS4 Pro dealer, we got to talk about a game you and I liked that is actually a PlayStation game, and it's Corporal Deacon St. John in Days Gone. And the former head of the studio had some complaints about Days Gone. Do you remember what he said?
He said, I can't say it. Man, Colt, why don't you just put a parental advisory badge on your show so I can beat me? All right. Basically, this guy said that we sold 8 million and were made to feel like failures with Days Gone. Meanwhile, Ghost of Tsushima, he also said we sold 8 million, made to feel like failures with Days Gone. We went on to Steam to sell over 1 million more. We were made to feel like failures. Meanwhile, Ghost of Tsushima sells 8 million, and that's a big success over there. That was after.
He's kind of inferring that it outsold Ghost of Tsushima.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's the same. Yeah. Like, he was made to feel like the game failed. And while it was worse critically, I liked the game more than a 71 meta. I give it a 78, not a 71 where the meta was. I had some fun with the game. I know you had a little bit of fun with it as well. I get what he's saying. I think Sony were more disappointed with it critically, but at the end of the day, Sony Ben were sent to basically be a support studio and were denied the right or the ability to develop a Days Gone 2.
Or make a new game, like they're basically a support studio only.
They wanted to make a sequel, and they were just relegated to support.
I know we don't talk about PlayStation a lot, but it was one of those games that Dealer and I play because it kind of had the Naughty Dog vibe. It did a couple of zombie things better than Stay Decay. Like the immersion animations are pretty cool. But I have to ask you this. I asked you this in the party chat. I got to ask you this on the show. Do you think PlayStation kind of dogged this game because it got a 71 Metacritic and they felt like it wasn't a success because it was in the upper echelons of the PlayStation mark of genuinity, or I don't know what word you'd use. Like
so why did they allow another Gran Turismo as a 74, 75 meta? Why did they make a NAC 2? The first one was in the 50s. Why did they not complain and crush the Order after it was made? It was in the 60s. PlayStation, Drive Club, another one. The PlayStation has made a bunch of
that
games.
Studio down. They're not letting them do another Order 1886.
But that wasn't their studio. They didn't shut it down. That was a third party, and they didn't allow the development of another one. True, but the sales were also nowhere near 10 million. I think that, again, NAC is proof of that. They've had some other sequels from Little Big Planet and other games that didn't do that well critically. That they've also allowed sequels to, and they've had games that didn't rate well that they've had sequels to, and it's kind of a weird thing where you kind of have a double standard with Sony Ben, and I'm not really sure why, because I thought Days Gone had plenty of potential, and I would have liked to have seen a sequel, and Microsoft should go ahead and send out some money, swipe us to developers, you know what I'm saying?
Just go buy Ben's studio from him?
Just go, the guys, a lot of guys left.
I think you're good.
A lot of guys are leaving and have left. And it's kind of indicative of what you're hearing publicly from these guys. And then you even had Sean Layden reply to that guy.
Yes, that's right. I didn't see the Sean Layden reply. I heard that like before we got on the
He
show.
basically said, word.
I like Sean Layden.
He didn't say word. He basically said, a sequel would have been really, really awesome to see. And I think Sean Layden might have greenlit that project, right? I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I mean, another thing we have to talk about, because I said the Metacritic thing, right? And you're like, no, Cole, it wasn't the Metacritic. We were talking to Zocker, and he's like, well, maybe the performance of the game, like it had bugs and it didn't run well, but it didn't have game-breaking bugs. Like, remember there was a time when the motorcycle drove by itself, or I can't remember what, there was like a glitch, or the motorcycle fell on a map a couple times for someone, or there was, sometimes when you got on the motorcycle, the frame rate dipped and was kind of I don't think a rock solid 27 frames per second did Sony Ben under. I don't think that's why either. What is it then?
I have no idea. Yeah, I think that at the time they relegated a bunch of money somewhere else, or they decided that when this pandemic hit, they needed manpower in the form of support studios. The one thing that they've really only acquired so far after buying studios, other than Insomniac, most of these teams are super small or VR or something like that. The biggest announcements, or some of them, are big support teams like Nexus, right?
Yeah.
That are going to build games and put games on PC. They need manpower. And maybe that's one of the big reasons where they're just like, hey, not right now. Maybe you can't build something right now. Go work on Last of Us Remastered HD 2.5 Resort Report. Jeez. Whatever Last of Us they're making now. Isn't there like 5 remaster of a...
Yeah, that's like another source of topic I wanted to like gloss over quickly, but they're remastering the already PS3 game that's been remastered on the PS4. and then it got a PS4 Pro version, and then they gave a PS5 update. I think they already want to remaster the first Last of Us. They're already talking about doing something with the Last of Us 2. I don't know. That's like they just continue to come up with ways to charge for better versions of games that should stand test of time by upgrading them. But
we'll see if they give that away to current owners. But if they don't, you're remastering a remaster, and you know it's going to hit PS5, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And, you and I don't say this to hate, because if you load up the Last of Us first game on the PS4 or on the PS5, like it runs at 60, right? On the base PS4. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it does.
On the PS4 Pro?
And the PS4, I think.
Does it?
On the base PS4, yeah, it's got a 60, I think. Anyway, it looks incredible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It looks incredible, and that's the point. The game looks incredible. Why do you need to remaster it? But
I mean, yeah, it's a little dated now, honestly. I mean, it does look good in a way still, but it's getting up there. I get it. And I think that this pandemic's pushed everything back in a way. But again, Sony are not really all that interesting, to be honest. Right now, they have been dead quiet. Their developers are kind of speaking out about, why didn't you let us build games? And Ghost of Tsushima sold the same amount. What the hell? Right now, we just don't know a whole lot about what they're doing. And, they've had a ton of game delays as well, just like everyone else.
Yep.
We'll see where they're at, man. I mean, until I see more, right now we just don't really have a lot to go on in terms of their direction. They did announce the PSVR stuff, but that's the newest thing we have from them.
Yeah, I want to talk about that VR stuff quickly in a little bit, but I got to ask you before, when you're talking about Last of Us, I got to ask you, who better? Last of Us 2 or Doom Eternal?
Who better? This is a topic. This is a topic I brought up. Just another LED was trying to compare, and I'm name dropping. I don't care. That's what I do now. I don't even care. He's trying to compare Doom Eternal to Last of Us 2, and I'm thinking like
the gameplay.
I'm thinking
the gameplay.
I don't care what it is. It could be the hair. I'm thinking, what an idiot. And then Cliff Blazinski's sitting there thinking, what an idiot, because he really commented about this and said, this is cringy. Like, why are you Why are you comparing Doom Eternal to Last of Us? And oh yeah, it turns out it's because one's owned by Sony and now one's owned by Microsoft. Meanwhile, they had no issue with Doom before Microsoft actually acquired ZeniMax. So it's one of those things where some people can only get likes a certain way, and they got to compare Doom Eternal to Last of Us. What a moron. They're both great games in their own way.
Yes, I mean, you and I are big fans of Doom and Doom Eternal, and this guy said that like a year ago said that Doom guy was better than Ellie and Don't At Me. He went through this phase, I think, where he was getting all excited about Xbox.
So he said a year ago Doom guy was better.
Yeah. And then now that Bethesda owns, those studios, id, man, what's id gonna make next? It's the inside scoop.
I'm just excited for whatever they decide to make.
Yeah. I just want to see him take the whole Doom approach to Quake or something. I don't know. They can make something brand new, but
Quake.
I don't know.
Doom Eternal was fantastic. It's been 2 years. Actually, it's been 3 years this year, right? Or wait, when did that game come out? 2020?
It came out in 2020. Yeah, it came out like March of 2020.
So 2 years, right? That means this time next year you'd be hearing about a sequel or something. That's the team that's been working on something for 2 years at this point. Eternal was fantastic. Doom Eternal was one of the best games of the year easily. I wouldn't mind a sequel, man. And maybe there won't be one, but whatever they're building, man, I am super excited. It's going to be on Game Pass day and date for those that care. And
they haven't said anything. They're like one of the there's 23 studios, and they're one of the few that hasn't said anything. Like Double Fine's even said we're working on a multiplayer focused game, and it has not said a word. So I hope they have something brewing that they want to show or share soon. Nano Polymyth with the 450-pound super chat says, is Colt still manscaping dealer's 6 toes? All I'm seeing is black and white test card on screen.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nano.
We love Nano. Nano is the king of cringe and makes us laugh every time. He when I first did my show,
don't call Nano king of cringe, you bastard.
Man, I love it. He took I was drinking a water bottle during my show while someone was talking. I'm like this, and he recorded it and put it in slow motion and cut in ladies from a Diet Coke commercial going, "Oh, look at him!" Nano kills me.
I'm surprised he didn't zoom in on your little fish lips and go.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, Nano does. Nano's so good at like nailing like the cringe funny stuff that makes people go, "What in the heck?" He's a good guy. Hargit Johnny with the $5 says somebody was actually buying a used Xbox One X while I was trading one in at GameStop. Was tempted to tell them to turn around and buy the Series S instead. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. You have to pick between 30 FPS and resolution and get that performance, and your games just load instantly with these new consoles. So. All right, we got. Let me talk about this VR thing because I don't want to talk about VR and VR games and all that stuff. Like, it drives me crazy. I don't want a thing strapped to my head with my hair sticking out on the side and be on the cover of Ready Player One, right? There's a joke in there somewhere, I'm sure. But
I mean,
I swear we've had this discussion on RDX like 2 years ago, but I'll just say it again. Dealer, what do you think about the team just allowing a couple of select VR headsets to be compatible with the Xbox Series S and X? Like, what's holding that back?
Watch it. You say the wrong thing, you get a crackhead Skeletor just attacking you. I think that Microsoft had a good plan with the One X. It was just to allow third parties like HP to provide designated headsets or third party already in use with PC headsets to be also compatible with the Xbox. And with the specs they have now, easy to do. I think they would go the same route. Let the third party handle the hardware. They will handle the API on the software end to make sure games will run. Let developers worry about the games. Bear the least load possible. And hey, I also wanted to say shout out to almost 900 people watching Colt. If you haven't, hit the like button. And Colt will drink water in slow motion for all of you.
Well, yeah, let's get that like up to 500 if we can. There's been a lot of people coming in here and checking out Dealer and I, even though I'm working on mic issues. I actually unplugged everything the other day. I didn't make a video last week because I was like kind of doing some PC stuff, trying to get some stuff figured out. And I unplugged everything and I had to plug it back in. And like when you guys said, "Oh, there's some mic issues," I'm looking down going, there's probably some cable that's
it's not a cable. It's a mixer and DBX combination. Like between those two things, I can help you out behind the scenes. But
yeah, we'll figure it out later. I haven't moved anything as far as this stuff over here where the audio is, but whatever.
Give Jedi Knight Matrix a shout out for me, will you? Because
Jedi Knight Matrix.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm grateful for your YouTube channel, Colt," and he said, "Hey Dealer, thanks for your recent YouTube videos." Somebody told me the other day that that our videos had gotten them through the pandemic, which is like. That's big. That's a big talk.
Look. How that might have been the case, and that's awesome. You guys have gotten us through the pandemic. It goes both ways, and we do appreciate you guys seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working from home, and Dealer and I are playing Xbox, so we're making videos and we're doing our thing, and we all got we're all stuck at home, and there was all this gaming news, and we were cranking out videos, and it really did. It is a two-way street. Like it's been good for us. And shout out to Tight Drago in the chat. He says, "Who that for these two clowns?" Oh, Titan's the best. So Xbox VR, I was going to ask you about, there's one thing that holds back Xbox supporting VR. And Phil said that he doesn't want to revamp the operating system, the dashboard, to get you in and out of a headset on your face. Right? Like, what else could be holding them back? Like, why not just put a team on the operating system? Hey, make sure you can get in and out of these things. Do they use, I don't know much about VR. Do they use different operating systems within themselves and they have to work together?
The headset operating system will come from the manufacturer of the headset. He's talking about the API and how the console will interface with the headset.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much manpower that takes. I do know that you can literally sell a used Xbox One X right now at $300 at GameStop. Okay, Colt, things are weird. And that's why Phil doesn't want to mess with it, okay? Things are really weird.
Everybody's like, just do it. But I think there's things like when you plug in your VR headset and turn it on, like, does the dash know that you've plugged that in, or you have to go in and turn something on? Like, that's so funny because people just do it. And there's always something, I don't know. The VR games aren't there yet. Like, I'm not going to buy a VR game because I have to play Half-Life. Alex, I'm not going to buy a VR headset.
That could be what he's talking about, too, since the headphone... And Cat, we won't be on this crap much longer. But
thank you.
That could be what Phil's referring to as well, is that each headset manufacturer would have to run, what OS built just for a headset or a VR headset, Now, traditionally, you'd have your own OS built by the headset manufacturer, but that headset needs to have a cable that runs to the console. Everything would go through that headset. So could Microsoft maybe hire somebody to develop an OS and a UI for a headset that they would just preload onto those headsets? Or maybe that you could put into Xbox mode somehow? I don't know. And basically what I'm hearing from Phil right now is we got our hands full, right? We're like, everything, it's just stuff's crazy right now. This is the last time that they're thinking about VR.
Here's the best part about it. Like somebody says in the chat, only on Xbox, this is VR topic yawn. The best part about Phil saying no on VR is like what you just said, dealers. They're busy. They've got their hands full making real. Can I say that? Real games.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, games come in all shapes and sizes, but if some people like Sea of Thieves, I'm sure they'd like the VR stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that could do it, but yeah, I mean, they're busy making the games that we're looking forward to right now, and that's, the team with Jason Ronald, they're working on their thing. They don't put them on something like that, but that's it for VR. We got to talk about E3. I don't think you were going to go, but for 2 years we weren't allowed to go. No,
it's a pandemic, Colt. I mean, no, I'm not going to go. I wasn't going to go.
So even if they were going to come back, you already had made your mind up that you're not going to E3.
No, I think it's as somebody who doesn't feel like adding to the problem either way, right?
Yeah.
This is the last year where I'm going to be. Look, I didn't need many incentives not to go. This was definitely not one of those years. You know why? You think it's because, there's a virus and a bunch of, people all around you. I wanted to use a much better word right there. And obviously, it's not the best year to do it. No, because I don't want to go to Los Angeles and be in a city that is plagued with just this aura of pandemic. I don't want to go and see trash in the streets and all this crap. I want to go when it's back to what it used to be, because if I'm going to experience it, I'm going to choose a better year than 2022 through 2024.
2022 through 2024.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for things to get a lot more closer to normal so I can experience this town, this city, like it's really meant to be experienced.
Yeah.
And that's in the ditch with the homeless people.
Shout out to Miles Dompier in the chat, who I probably would have been able to meet if we could get together for one of these things. But I think E3 might come back next year. If it doesn't completely die, like the ESA is probably tired of dealing with all the crap. But if they bring it back as a journalist only or industry only event, would we be able to go? Would I still want to? I was actually talking to one of my friends about that, who goes to E3 whenever he can. I don't know. It's a whole mess, but it was an amazing experience. I wanted you to have that experience and go there, but it's just a big mess. It just seems like things are getting worse, but I don't know. Microsoft didn't go to CES either, and PlayStation was there. Sony was there with an electric car.
Did it bring him? Did it bring him more games? Like,
yeah, I don't know. And to be clear, like when I say I want to get back to E3, I'm strictly speaking on. I just want things normal again. Like you're saying, dealer. I want things to where people can say, you know what, it's okay. We can get together. There are states all over the United States. I live in the U.S. where they're allowing concerts. I'm in Washington State. We still don't have concerts. Yeah, I mean,
welcome to the Pandemic Podcast.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. So, yeah, I just want it to be better. I want things to be normal because I want to go back to what that is. But yeah, it's definitely.
When are you debuting the PNC Podcast?
The Pandemic News?
The Human Centipede of Gaming Podcasts.
It's so funny because you and I never talk about politics. We don't linger on topics like this very long because it's totally not what we do.
Personally, I say, hey, Activision, don't, do dumb shit with your employees. Have respect for people. Generally, when it comes to, being serious and in an actual real workplace where real adults work, and these are millionaires doing this shit. Hey, don't do dumb stuff. I'm not going to white knight for things that are common sense, and I'm not going to boycott certain things. If workers are involved, if people building these games with their lives, it's not their fault Bobby's a weirdo. And I get the other point of the pen too, right? I understand it. Yeah. And that's what, that's really what it comes down to. You should be able to have discourse and talk to about these things without really having a disdain for one another. And I think that's key, and that's been lost. But ultimately, we get in here and we do this to get away from these problems. Gaming is an escape, and it's I would argue the best escape you can find on the legal side, obviously.
Yeah,
Colt was telling me he helps find Saul.
It has been quite an escape when you're not going on vacation as much, you're not going in many places, and you're getting into a world and having your escape from life in the video game form. But I don't know, E3 is 5 or 6 months away. I was just kind of hoping that maybe things were, like maybe the people are smarter than me, project out and say, by the time June comes around, things will be better in the world. But
so you were going to go?
If they said, hey, we're going to do it because by then things are going to be great, then yeah. But
were you going to show up in Sony's electric car?
Absolutely, with a VR headset on, with my hair sticking out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just no E3. I don't want E3 to die, but you know what, dealer? The streams, the on demand, I don't know what you call them. The shows have been really good the past couple of years for E3, just over the internet, right? I mean, you've enjoyed them.
I mean, the one they had 2 years ago,
2020 with Craig.
Yeah, no, we didn't like that show. I gave that show a 7.8.
Wait, no, are you talking about 2019, the real one?
The last show? The one that they showed, Redfall and Starfield, and they clarified on, that's the one I kind of talked about towards the end of my video today. That show I thought was one of the best gaming events I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was
the
really,
pacing,
really good.
The game. It's a gaming show. It's not a show where you say this is exclusive from Sony. This is a gaming show, and every show is judged on which, what is the show? Games. And that's what they did. And they got some good messaging out there. The show before that was the one where they showed Craig, right?
Yeah, but that was a well-paced show too. But the Halo Infinite reveal was
it had some good spots in it, but they really killed off some momentum there. I gave it a 7.8. The last year's show I gave a 9.3 or 4. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, I must be mixing up. I must be mixing that up.
It had some good moments, so I get what you're saying. It was definitely, decent in spots. But the show before that was the one where they showed Bambi headbutting Xbox soap out of a vending machine, the E3 that you went to, and that was horrible. So again,
well, I mean, they've gotten so much better since
it's gotten better.
2019. Yeah, the pacing was great in 2020. The games didn't hit exactly. There's a lot of little games in 2020, but last year was really good. So I'm looking forward to. Now, here's the thing that people aren't ready for is E3 2022 will be an online only event. It'll be on a Sunday. Microsoft come out and probably do a 2-hour show. This is the moment where they can't hide behind most of their big games. Now, I don't know if you've given this some thought, and you and I will be covering this on our channels in the next couple months, right? So what big games do you expect Xbox to finally say, hey, we got to show you some stuff, and which ones won't? There's some big ones that should come off the top of your head.
I mean, the games that they've already shown a little bit of, because we all know that Microsoft don't like showing things too much before they launch now, right?
They have a rule. You know what the rule is. Yeah.
So I would say that 2023, we're talking about E3, right? So you're talking about 6 months, 8 months, where you're starting to get into some of these games. You're going to see Forza Motorsport there. That's going to be a big one. And I'm looking forward to that. Yes. Really love the Motorsport franchise. I prefer the track racers, honestly. As good as Horizon 5 was, loved it. I'm a bigger fan of the simulation type stuff. So that will be there. We think there will be some debuts of some other games, maybe like Avowed and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's probably pretty close to at least being ready to be in a showable state or be shown. Hellblade's been shown technically once, really. That first one wasn't really running in real time, but the second one blew everybody away. The second showing of what that game could possibly look like, and it does look like that was running in real time.
Do you think they're going to show more combat in Hellblade and then say it's coming out fall 2022? Or
I think they're going to definitely they'll give a year at the very least. And I know that seems like common sense, but remember, a lot of companies don't even do that now with everything that's been happening with the pandemic. So
Xbox's rule is they want to show gameplay a year before release. They don't like to show it before. And even with, they got burned on Halo Infinite. So that's kind of an edge case, but all right, go ahead. So Hellblade, they'll probably show. We're going to see some hand-to-hand maybe some swordplay combat.
I mean, even if we don't
at
see
E3.
swordplay combat, who is doubting that there will be combat in Hellblade, knowing that they've trained her for
There's only jigsaw
years
puzzles.
now? Yeah, I mean, they've shown her literally fighting with no weapons, hand-to-hand combat in the mocap studio. We know there's tons of combat in Hellblade, and more of which that, no Hellblade game has had this much combat, obviously. So I'm not really worried about that. I just hope it all controls well and kind of implements well. They're doing a lot of cool stuff and new technology with this game, so I hope it all works out well.
Unreal Engine 5.
I want to see Fable in action. That's what I want to see.
Now, do you think they'll show anything for Fable in 2022?
Well, that game coming out in 2024, pandemic has factored into all this, but if it did, it would have to be early 2024, you would think.
Do you think that Playground RPG team is ready to show like an environmental fly through or something, show like what the actual in-engine game could look like? Like, I think that's what I was talking to Forte about that a couple weeks ago. We were both kind of agreed that it'd be really nice if they could at least show a proof of concept, because we don't know anything other than a pre-rendered cinematic, which is not really working these
Very
days.
intentional on their part, obviously.
Yeah.
But I want to see some gameplay from it, and I want to see what it looks like. And I want to see how they're going to bring Fable forward. There is competition. I think that it would be hard to go back from playing, Odyssey or Witcher 3 or a great RPG.
I was going to say what was the competition, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey seems like a weird comparison.
I mean, it's not necessarily a comparison in the scope regard, but it is a comparison that it's an RPG. It's narratively motivated.
I think it's a good one.
It will have side missions and all that stuff. So I want that stuff to be meaningful. I want the side content to be actual content that if you didn't do it your first playthrough and you did it your second, you would have thought, wow, I missed out on this. Like, I found this, and it makes the game feel new.
Getting an eyeball out of a goat's rear end or something.
Or holding a dog's hand and all this other dumb crap that Fable 3 was having us do. You can hold hands now. It's like, I don't care.
You didn't hold a dog's hand. You could hold your partner's hand.
You could hold your partner's dog's hand. I'm done with the dogs.
Okay, hold on, Fable. Let me grab a couple supers here. Meat Puppet 007. Hold a dog's hand. That's great. Thank you for the $5. Just for clarification, the Camaro I mentioned is from Age of Empires 1 and 2. You can spawn it in and shoot rockets at enemies that were on horses. So the Camaro must have been, it's spelled differently, but it must have been like...
That's good to know, though.
Shooting rockets in Age of Empires. Hargit Chani says, Dealer Gaming isn't Mustang the pony car?
The pony car.
and then he did the old classic joke, Ford found on the road. Yeah, you're with him. Hargit Chani, one more.
Like the third most reliable brand in the world last year or some crap, but yeah, okay. Hargit drives a Prius, I don't care. No, shout out to Hargit, and shout out to Ashtray Gaming as well, since you ignore Ashtray. He says Fable needs more dog hand holding.
Ashtray is amazing. Ashtray actually put up the tweet about he was the one that I read. I learned the news about The Last of Us remake, and I replied to him with release, remake, remaster, update, upgrade, director's cut. Oh boy, people got mad when I said that. But hey, that's how it goes.
Rand's next video title, basically. If he ever makes a video. Shout out to Rand.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully we talk to Rand tomorrow. I'd like to see him on your show. Hargit Chani with the $5 says PSVR 2 features updates will cost $20 per game, $10 for PS5, and another $10 for the VR version. Oh my gosh.
How about Sony? How about no?
No. I don't know, but we don't want to talk about VR on the show. Mario T with the Canadian $10 says, great to have Dealer as a guest. Big fan of both. Keep up the great work and all the best in 2022. Thank you, Mario. Back in the day, Dealer and I collaborated on a couple of videos. And one of the very first videos I did with Dealer, as I was cutting my teeth as a YouTuber, is I had Dealer party in on the computer and we talked on our mics. And I'm like, I'll take care of it. I'll capture our mics and then I'll build the video. Well, the way I had it set up was Dealer's voice was coming out of my stereo and getting into my mic. So anyway, what happens when Dealer's voice came into my video, he was doubled, and it sounded like a weird, like a cool effect.
Basically, Colt found a cool way to fix it, and he turned me into a robot. Some of you might remember that video. And shout out to who was it? The super chatted?
That was Mario T. Yeah,
Mario T and your Canadian $10. I'm sorry he put emphasis on that. We're all just people, Mario.
Well, you know what? I like to know where people are from. All right. Well,
Shout out to Mario.
So
Seriously, though, thanks for watching our stuff, man.
Yeah. Shout out, Mario. You know, it's funny because when I first saw the CA, I was like, "Hey, thanks for the California 10."
Smells like shit.
It was so funny because it's so cool that we get to talk to people from all different parts of the world. But somebody put up a flag. There was a flag in the super, or they put it in the chat, and I didn't know what flag it was, or I can't remember. Maybe it was something I saw. Global sales, that's what it was. And I was like, it's like a flag with like a star, and like there's like it's a blue thing, and people are like, Cole, it's the European flag. And I'm like, oh, I didn't go to school very much. So yeah, shout out to Mario T. And we got Lord Starkiller, who's been a member for 15 months. He's got the Cortana, the old Cortana. Oh my gosh, I got the old Cortana for an emblem. He says, shout out to Dealer and great podcast, thumbs up. And he's got the little emoji. If you're a channel member, you have custom emojis that I drew up and that I created that you can pop in the chat and just look extra different.
Shout out to Starkiller, the coolest name.
Starkiller, it is any day now he's going to get the sweatshirt that he won for my show on the monthly giveaway. And Yosemite Blam, thank you for the $2. He says, can I get a go dogs, Colt? Let's go beat Pama. Go dogs. Go dogs. I don't know which dog.
Just shout it. About. Who cares? You know, just shout.
Go dogs.
Yeah, go dogs.
Feels like just shout it. And it's like really like an evil cult somewhere that I just shout.
Someone pops up. Colt supports Go Dogs.
It's Go Dogs. I swear it's a group where
I heard they're holding dogs' hands over there.
Hold dogs' hands.
You Go Dog supporting bastards?
Yeah, there you go. Udani Kazada. Thank you. Udani's amazing. Gaz had a spicy Halo take today. Let's jump him. Hey, can we talk about that?
Let's jump him.
He's got the fist. I want to talk about this really quick. Did you watch his video today, Dealer? Have you watched it yet?
You know, I clicked on it and I saw him freaking out and just, crawling on the ceiling, barfing and shit. I was like, hang on, I'll come back to this. I need some coffee. Go Dogs.
I mean, he opened it pouring hot sauce on a plate and then snorting it. Gaz
really might have some personal problems that stem into YouTube, guys, and I just want to apologize for everyone that didn't watch it because you need to go watch it right now. Go Dogs.
You do need to go watch it, and Gaz, most of his money goes for his hot sauce addiction, but he did make some good points, and I loved Halo Infinite. Dealer, you really liked Halo Infinite. We gave it really good scores. It's a great game, but he kind of points out some stuff that 343 did really well.
He points out the same stuff I pointed out in my review. Yeah, we've all got our opinions, and guess what? I can't change none of your minds, and I can't tell you that killing Cortana off screen is a bad thing, and other things that are spoilery. Not much more spoiler than that, though. Sorry for anyone that didn't beat it by now. If you're watching this, you ain't beat it. I don't know what to tell you. There's really no excuse, except for Hargeet's waiting for co-op, but I already spoiled it for him in a party, so I'll just go ahead and say that. But, there's things that are issues, and admitting that, that's acceptable, and I respect Hargeet because we just talked about this earlier, and he was like, 100% you should be able to say these things and, voice those opinions to companies. And there is there's not one comment on a campaign expansion roadmap. There is nothing different in regards to upgrades, updates, anything else that Ram would put in his title that has to do with how they're going to do things with this video or this game in the future. This isn't doing anything different. Every game adds more maps and does more things. They haven't announced anything to do with single player getting bigger. We know it will, but they haven't really said, hey, this is the roadmap. And
one of the problems with that is that they've given themselves 6 or 8 months to fix the launch version of the game. That's one of the problems why we're not seeing the roadmap, because they know they have to get co-op working. They have to get Forge in there.
Until they give me a roadmap, and none of that has anything to do with any of my complaints with how they handle the story, which is already sealed and locked in place. It doesn't matter what comes next. They handle it how they handle it. I don't complain on anybody has a problem with that game. Now, the game was fun as hell. I still give it a mid-8, including the multiplayer. But at the end of the day, Gaz snorting hot sauce. What do you expect? His brain's on fire. He's real pissed. He probably, was pretty pissed off in that video. I don't know.
He pointed out some stuff that I didn't realize how well 343 did in the past, like how they treated Cortana and how they told the story. Because then I was like,
Well, they didn't agree with that because they deleted all that in this game.
Right, but in the past, like everyone's like, "Oh, 343 shouldn't have Halo," but they did some stuff really well in the past that I think a lot of people wrote off because they thought, "Oh, Bungie was better." And I was starting to think 343 is doing really good with Halo, but I don't know.
think this is the best, one of the best Halo games ever
It
made.
is.
And we really enjoyed Halo 2. We ran through that kind of recently-ish. But this is so much fun. It really needs co-op, and I'll go through it again then. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this, and I think it's going to be a great platform to not only improve story-wise, gameplay is going to get bigger and better. They're going to add more stuff there throughout the expansions, surely, but visually as well with ray tracing and things. I think Halo Infinite will look a lot different by its end than it will at launch, and I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great product, and I think it exceeded a lot of people's expectations, and for that reason, I think people really double down on you when you have any criticisms of it, and really the most... I'll say this: anyone that says you just didn't understand this, you missed that, no. I just want to smack the shit out of anybody who says this shit. The dumbest motherfuckers is the one who says that anybody that has a complaint about the story just didn't get it. That's a cop out. You don't have a real reason for the things that we're stating, and that's what you got. And you just smack yourself when you say that. You don't even stand a chance when it comes to that. So again, enjoyed the game. I've talked positively about it in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
It's one of the best playing Halo games.
You remember when Major Nelson came on the podcast the day they showed Halo popping in with no mountains, and we were like, what's going on with that, Major Nelson? 100%, we're just being honest with Microsoft. We ain't there to get our a 10 out of 10 on our Halo Infinite score sheet, and show it on a commercial. Like, that's not why we're there. We're there to be honest with those guys, and I think 85 is perfectly serviceable. What a gas
I gave it a
give
9.0.
What a gas give it.
9.0 to 10. But it is funny that you and I had this conversation. Gaddis had this conversation, and you guys start pointing out stuff, and I'm like, but I still really enjoyed it. But what if we enjoyed it, but there's a little bit where you think if they just did this better, and they did this and they did this, you'd be looking at like the best Halo game ever. Like, nobody could dispute it, right? Because it's really close. But what if in this E3, if they tease like a whole new section of the ring, and they show like a rendering or like some type of like a view, like just a camera pan real quick of like a desert portion, and that's like
fine, like
something like
let them. But
would that get you excited?
I mean, I'm excited for anything new to the game, but it doesn't take away from what they did in the story and how they handled certain things in the story and how they deleted the last two games just about, and how they killed one of the most iconic characters in Halo history off screen, and how it launched without co-op. That affected me, that affected you, that affected so many people behind the scenes. Dudes gave it a 10 that sit there and started the reviews talking about how they loved Halo because of the co-op. The game didn't have co-op. They gave it a 10 still. I don't understand some of these things. But at the end of the day, everyone's got their own opinion, man. Like, if they're going to add more, that's good. But, when's that going to be here? I don't know. I'll probably be playing something else until it hits. Right now, I'm focused on co-op because Yodani's right. That grapple shot is legit. And partnering that up with a drop shield or, a co-op partner's other ability, which something other people aren't thinking about. You got abilities for each Spartan. How many people do you think are going to play this together? 2 or 4? Because that's a lot of abilities flying out all at once.
I'm going to guess they're only allowing 2-player co-op on this one, and I hope they do 4. But realistically, I'll only play with 2 or 3 people at a time in long sessions.
Because there are 4 weapons loading racks at these FOB bases. There's 4 spots to get loadouts, and that's just something you brought up. And I don't know. Chat, let us know what you think. 2 or 4-player co-op. I couldn't imagine it 4. It'd be so incredibly fun. Halo 5 had 4-player co-op. What do you guys think?
Well, maybe one of the things that's delayed is the scaling. Like, when you bring in a second person, they have to ramp up the enemies 1.5 times. If you bring in four Spartans, they have to multiply the enemies' abilities.
Or they can just make them soak more damage, or I would like them to improve the AI instead of just making them bullet sponges, but that's harder. So
yeah, you have to play with the math somehow, and I don't think they're going to bring in more enemies. But when you play a game like Borderlands, they increase their intensity. Maybe they do math on their difficulty, so they're a little bit harder to kill, or a little bit they shoot at you a little better. But there's so many things they could do, and I hope that they're talking about bringing the repulsor, the forearm like bouncer into the campaign in the next expansion or something. That could be pretty good. We got let's see here. We got Hargeet Johnny says, agree the Halo story feels unfinished, and it is. Has he played it yet, or are you just messing with him?
No, he's played it.
Okay. What was the story for Far Cry 6? We have higher expectations for Halo. Far Cry 6's story was one half of the story was annoying. Like your team was too funny and goofy. Carillas, and they were like making jokes, but I already forgot
But guess what? Far Cry 6 was that game was the only thing I remember about it is, aside from some of the great acting from the main villain, is the co-op, man. And it makes that game something else. So, I'm really looking forward to the co-op in Halo. That's my point.
Yeah, when you and I were playing Far Cry 6, like you said, get in this thing. And it was a buggy, and I got in the back, and you said, watch this. And you drove off a cliff, and you pulled a button, and we started gliding, and it blew my mind. And like I've seen a million things in video games. And like that experience in co-op, you have to have that experience with friends. So we're already like thinking about
Far Cry 6 is a blast in co-op, guys. There's not enough co-op games out there. If you need one, it's definitely one of the best to come out last year.
Yeah. Jedi Knight Peter from Australia with the $10 says, great to see Colt and Dealer back together. Going off the earlier discussion, do you think Xbox will show more CGI trailers at E3, or will they go the gameplay route? Are CGI trailers good enough? I kind of talked about this. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to show more CGI stuff? Because Blur made this State of Decay trailer that we watched a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah, which is a weird use of their time. Because I don't find it particularly memorable, and I think they're capable of much more. But I think Microsoft and a deer that was cracked out, in the woods.
That's not State of Decay.
Well, it is now, right? This is part of what they are telling you is the animals are now infected. And that's part of their...
like one single character out on it, is not really the State of Decay.
It might be. It might be in this new one, right?
Yeah, maybe.
At least in some portion of the game. But I think that if Microsoft are listening, which I know they listen to these podcasts, they should know by now that we want gameplay. And I get revealing State of Decay with CG, which, think of it now, really wasn't necessary yet a ton that year, at least in terms of reveals. Show us like Hellblade made an impact because it was gameplay, right? That's what people want to see at this point. And I think that's what they should aim for if possible.
Okay. We should also clarify the difference between CGI trailers and in-engine trailers. That can make a big difference, right?
Well, in-engine is just, you're talking about pre-rendered in-engine. There's a few little loopholes here. One is designed to kind of show you what's possible. The other is actually in the game engine, but it's not gameplay. It's just like a cutscene like you see in God of War or Halo Infinite. And then one of them's flat out gameplay where you see the HUD, you see everything on screen, or maybe they remove that like Hellblade did. That's what I want to see is like, show me the gameplay, HUD or not. I'm always going with the gameplay stuff.
Yeah, and the reason why I want to bring that up is like, let's compare it to Fable. Fable's trailer, which we all know really well because we've seen it 87 times, right? The Fable trailer is made in a computer. It's made to capture the vision, right? And then you look at the Hellblade's first trailer, which was made in engine, so you know what the engine's capable of. So, like for us, like the hardcore or people like us who create content or anybody who's talking to everybody about this stuff, like it is important to be able to say, hey, when we see this next Fable reveal, that was in engine. That's from assets that they're building for the game. That's what I think is super important. But I think who was this? This was Jedi Knight Peter. Jedi Knight Peter, I'm sure he means the in-engine CGIs. I think they're just good enough.
Yeah, but, and Pixelbit G has a good point as well. Like we said, State of Decay, to be clear, because I know I've got like 900 gamer score in this game before all the expansions of crap. I know you've got a lot of gamer score in the game as well. Yeah, played the hell out of State of Decay 2. I reviewed State of Decay 2. I love State of Decay 1. I pushed that game hard. It is a community-driven kind of strategy survival game where there is permadeath and your decisions do matter. And you are always safe until you're not. But at the end of the day, Jeff Strain left. And he's the one who pushed that. They could change certain things. And while
Jeff Strain pushed the permadeath thing?
That was all him.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's the one who basically founded the studio. You know, this is all the stuff that he wanted to make. So that doesn't mean that things will change. But I think, you know, the focus on the deer that was cracked out on PCP in the woods, That, that's something that's going to be a main thing in the game. Animals are now infected. And how much money is it going to take to give this deer enough crack to leave you alone? That's the big question.
There were no animals in State of Decay 2 as much as that
there
game
were not.
did. So having crazy, I wonder. I guess you're right when you say like they put everything in a trailer for a reason. They're trying to project out what's going to happen. So we're probably going to see regular wildlife and then infected wildlife and maybe wildlife that becomes infected. So it's just another thing to watch out for. But I was actually playing the game last night. And yeah, Zocker87 says it the best. He says it gives you the most false sense of security. You feel like you're going to be okay. It's only 3 zombies. And as I've said to you on party chat, I'm being overrun. You come run around the corner and I've got 2 zombies on me, but I really, you're really getting,
and we've only been able to get Zalker to play the game 2 times. So what a weird coincidence.
Doesn't it look good on Series X though? Oh man, it looks so much nicer.
Yeah. 60 FPS, man. Big.
And I talked to somebody who said they've been improving the visuals and the lighting and just the visual quality of it over time as they put up updates. So I noticed there's this nice like trailing light around the characters. It kind of sweetens up a game that looked more AA when it launched. I don't know if you can. If
it still looks AA, but the frame rate does a lot, man. And
it does. It's been improved, which is good. So hopefully they learn things along the way. We got let's see. A Lord Starkiller for the 10 says still having a great time with Halo Infinite. Love that grapple shot. Yeah, we got to do that sucker in co-op. A Nanopolymath sent a 45-pound super chat that is pretty crazy. I'm going to read it sort of censored. This is how great Nano is. He says, I don't even know if I can read this.
Of course you can. It's your channel. Go. Who are you afraid of?
Oh my gosh. I think it's Manscaped. It's Manscaped inspired. He says there once was a lady from Clyde.
Oh my god. Yes, more.
You guys are about to get a poem from Nanopolymath. There once was a lady from Clyde who had trouble getting things.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Deal's like, read it.
What was that dog thing? Dog what?
The holding hands with a dog?
The dog cult. I don't remember. I was just making the stupid ass dog cult joke. hey, don't talk to Colt. He supports dog cult. What was that? What was the name of that?
Yeah, it was Go Dogs. Go
Dogs. Don't talk to Colt. He supports Go Dogs.
Don't go to godogs.com or you have to read this poem.
So go ahead and read this super chat from Go Dogs co-founder Nanopolymath.
She had hair flowing like drapes until she used Colt's Manscaped. Now she's lighter and less wider, and now she's a better glider as a lady from Clyde. Much love, King Cringe. Yeah, much love from King Cringe Nanopolymath for the super chat.
Dropping a track in the super chat.
Nano sat there and just thought, what wonderful flowing beauty can I type on Colt's channel? And that is what he came up with. But 20% off if you use the code Colteastwood at manscaped.com. Thanks for sponsoring the show. And thanks for having a dealer on here, guys. We got over 500 likes and over 800 people watching. We are on the big one. We got to talk about Ubisoft Plus. You know, the whole Ubisoft saying, hey, we're coming to Game Pass. And everyone went with it, wrote articles, pulled them. What happened to you that morning? Tell the story. Do tell.
I uploaded a video and then just assumed like an idiot that it would be joining Game Pass like EA Play. Only to find out that Ubisoft later replied down in that thread that, no, it's a separate subscription. And that caused a bunch of retractions on websites and people on Twitter. And I took my video down, re-uploaded it, making fun of myself and saying Hooked on Phonics didn't work for me. But it didn't work for a lot of people.
I deleted a tweet, Games Radar, Games Rant, one of those, like had to pull their article and delete their tweets.
Deleted their whole website. Yeah, I mean, it was a stupid thing, and you got to say this, right? They said, look, Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox, and it all starts with Rainbow Six Extraction on Game Pass, January 20th, day and date. That is mixed messaging. That's bad marketing. that leaves people on the impression that Ubisoft Plus is coming to Game Pass. It all starts with Rainbow Six Day and Date on Game Pass. Ubisoft Plus has nothing to do with Game Pass, but you're saying it all starts with Rainbow Six hitting Game Pass?
And there's two more parts, dealer. The Ubisoft Plus Twitter account at Ubisoft Plus said, "Hi, Xbox Game Pass," that same morning, like right when that stuff went out. And so everyone's like, oh my gosh. And then another thing is they said, we're bringing Rainbow Six Extraction to Game Pass and looking forward to future things in Game Pass or something like that. In the future, we'll discuss.
And it's like, whatever, what does this have to do with Ubisoft Plus, a separate EA Play service that you're going to have for a separate subscription? What does this have to do with Game Pass? And you loop your own announcement of a game coming to Game Pass and say it all starts here. What starts? EA Play or Ubisoft Plus? Like, how does that start with it when it's not part of it? And, while it will eventually become part of Game Pass like EA Play, right? Right now it is not, and that threw us all for a loop. But I think it made for a much better video at the end of the day. I had a lot of fun with that. And
you actually cut in your old mistaken phrase. And
I put a high pass on it and just kind of, hang on, that's not true.
Yeah, like
it was something to add a little bit of a little twist that morning. Thanks, Ubisoft, a little twist.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, it's easy for like people who just kind of read the news here or there. But if you're a content creator or you're writing for a website or you have like a Twitter account where you like to break news to your followers as quickly as possible, it is so easy to fall into the, let me read it, come to Game, and then you just go and because I did that. And I burned out a tweet and said, Ubisoft Plus is coming to Game Pass. We talked about this a year ago on my channel. Boom, send the tweet. And then I'm like, King Cringe, help me out on this one. Yeah.
A lot of people in the chat, a lot of people on Twitter, made the same assumption. And at the end of the day, what matters is that you put something out there and correct it or stop the flow of misinformation at least. And, that's all that matters. So it's not part of it. We think
Are you a liar?
It will. You support Go Dog. Shut up. Eventually, it will be part of Game Pass. And as of right now, they're wanting $15 or so a month for the service. That includes first-party Ubisoft games and all DLC.
So do you think that Ubisoft Plus is eventually, because I think that's what you were saying, that it's eventually going to come to like that whole service, which is
And people say, well, they want $15 a month or whatever by itself. That's true. EA wanted money every month as well. And guess what? As the number of subscribers grow for Game Pass, that incentive for them to join Game Pass is even higher with Ubisoft games in there. Mm-hmm. And Microsoft can pay them the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars throughout however much time that Ubisoft would want for that engagement, because they can cut them in on microtransaction percentages. They can cut them in on purchase percentages. They can reduce how much they take from Ubisoft when the game is bought through their service. They can do all kinds of stuff on top of money and
leverage
deals, marketing, advertising.
Margin.
They can throw all this stuff in there, and you grow another 10 million subscribers.
Plus, if you leave a Ubisoft Plus ad at the bottom of the dashboard every day for like 6 months, like that's worth a lot of money for Ubisoft, right?
I mean, just the engagement, man. It's word of mouth 5.0. And when you see every friend on your friends list playing the newest Ubisoft game, that's why Sea of Thieves so well. That's why Gears 5 crushed Gears 4 in no time, even though it was on Game Pass day one. That's why these games sell more, not less. That's why developers say this. That's why they're all happy. And that's why there's no proof that it takes away from that engagement, from that revenue. And those guys agree on that set amount contract, and they sign and they go. Ubisoft will do the same thing. They're testing this out. And I think this is just, at the end of the day, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to come through. But EA are still in Game Pass right now with EA Play.
Still, yeah.
For a reason.
Well, Ubisoft is one of the biggest publishers, and I think they're even bigger than Activision in their own way, because they put out more games than their competition. They put out a lot of big games, right? Like you and I thinking, I don't know if I'd subscribe to Ubisoft Plus because you and I already own every game in their catalog that we've wanted to, that we had to play, right? But Ubisoft always puts out one or two, at least, big games every year. And I don't know if a lot of publishers can say they do that. That is so crazy because it's a $15 a month service. you think you could throw that into Game Pass, because we heard about this over a year ago. Like we heard those whispers, and when we saw the tweets go out in the morning, like you automatically just like you just put the wires together, and then you're thinking Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox. So how long do you think they're going to test run this? Because they're going to put Extraction in, and then I would think in the summer they're going to think about putting something else in there, right? So what do you think's what's the timeline on this?
Think about that though. Like Microsoft have 300 or more games in Game Pass right now for $10 a month. Ubisoft have a handful of relevant games in there for $15 a month. That's the power of numbers. When you've got 30, 40 million subscribers, by the time Ubisoft joins, maybe that much or more. You're talking about the ability to summon large libraries of third-party content and being able to actually fund that with Game Pass subscription numbers. That's the power of the subscriber number. That's how you get these guys to join. You're like, look, we got 30, 40 million users here, and we cut you in these deals, and we'll pay you money, and we'll get that deer to stop chasing you from State of Decay 3. What do you say? And, maybe they join. Who knows how long it'll be, man. But I'm looking forward to playing Rainbow Six Tooth Extraction on January 20th.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. I don't know how great that game's going to be, but I'm hoping by next fall they're ready to make a move, because it might be that boost that Xbox needs for Game Pass. But I don't know. I think they're at 25 or 28 million right now, which is pretty good. But I don't know. I was going to talk about Take-Two buying Zynga, but I just feel like there isn't really much to say there. I don't even know if Don Matrick's still working at Zynga.
He's not.
But it puts Take-Two off the menu for Xbox, doesn't it?
I think it puts them off the menu for a lot of gamers. They invested $12 billion into a mobile cell phone company, instead of actually making more games. I don't know. I'm one of those that's really annoyed by Strauss Zelnick, his continual pushing that we're not microtransacting these guys enough. We're not doing this enough. You are known for being the most sleazy microtransaction, one of the worst out there when it comes to these games. Now you're pushing them. 2K, Grand Theft Auto, all this stuff. You only make a handful. You're the next Activision. If you don't make Grand Theft Auto games, what do you even have anymore besides 2K? Like, what do you do? It's almost to the point now where they don't really do anything. They stopped making and investing in new games, and now they're just pushing more and more microtransactions, and now they spend $12 billion on a mobile market. Some bullshit. It's just annoying seeing where they were with Manhunt and Bully and all these games, and now look at them. It's pathetic.
What are they going to do? Like make a Red Dead mobile version and a Grand Theft Auto online? I mean, maybe
I don't know, man, but some things money can't buy. Take-Two, and that's what they don't get. Is that goodwill from fans. When they fucked everybody over with this Grand Theft Auto trilogy remake, they knew what they were doing. They released it so they could get bonuses that year before the year ended. They do not care about the consumer in any way, and they're proving it to you again by recharging for Grand Theft Auto the 47,000th time when it comes out at 60 FPS on the new consoles. It's sickening. It's what happens when executives forget what it's like to be gamers, I guess. Maybe they were at one point, but you can really tell what companies are actually ran by real gamers that have goodwill at the heart.
Yeah, and whose voice is being heard, because it was a pipe dream. Like you and I talked about on our channels at one point or another about a Take-Two possible acquisition for Xbox and what that could mean. Then you stop.
Actually, never. I never talked about that, Colt, because that was behind the scenes stuff that wasn't supposed to be talked about. Because
Rand covered it like 2 years ago. And I don't know if I can't remember if you made it. I don't even know if I made a video. I know we talked about it on show.
You said stand by.
Yeah, stand by. I actually have. I think I deleted it today. I had a Take-Two acquisition voiceover recorded like 2 or 3 months ago or longer, and then I just left it there. But the point I'm getting at is like when you think about, because you get a lot of people saying they need to buy Take-Two, but you have to remember that if Xbox owned Take-Two, all of those games you love, Red Dead 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, 4, 3, and all those would all stay multiplat. And you're sitting waiting for Take-Two and Rockstar to actually make GTA 6. And I'm even wondering at this point if they're even working on GTA 6 right now.
Of course they are.
I think they might.
And Splendifer says, yes, you did. Yeah, on a podcast, because it was asked about what everyone was talking about, not in a video. There's a reason I didn't make a video about it. So there's a big difference, Splendiferous. Pay attention. See you tomorrow, buddy. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6. It's definitely in development. And shout out to Splendiferous. He's at every single RDX. Big, well-known face in the RDX chat.
I made a thumbnail for Rand with Take Two, and I had NBA 2K in the picture and stuff. But I just I don't know. I don't know. No Take Two.
Well, I know that it's obviously every company's been rumored and talked about before. Every one of them under the sun. But there was things said in a chat that sparked all this again, and it wasn't supposed to. So that's why I never made a video about it. But hey, Lord Starkiller said something. And Others Inc.'s in the chat. I thought he just abandoned us when he started doing Others Inc. started doing a podcast and never heard from that motherfucker again, man. Shout out to Others Inc.
Others Inc., man. I haven't seen you in a long time. He says Starfield isn't multi-plat. Ask Cullen Moriarty.
Savage.
Yeah, it's funny. Let's see. We got Phase 007 says, is State of Decay 3 going to have a story mode, or is it going to be just multiplayer? I think they can be the Days Gone of Xbox if they want to. The story mode is kind of different in State of Decay 2. It's like I don't know how you describe it, but it kind of has a story direction. But what do you expect they're going to do as far as story for State of Decay 3?
Well, in State of Decay 2, the story was you go to different buildings and shoot a rack of ribs in a corner.
And you had to build up a character and assign them as like chief deputy.
Yeah, I'm a deputy. Go Dogs. I don't know. I mean, that's one of the biggest leaps they can make, because that's one of the biggest places the State of Decay 2 was lacking, was the narrative. And if you don't care about narrative, then hey, mute the sound. I don't care. But most people say they don't really care or want a narrative. Like, okay, well, you're in the minority. Like, people usually want a decent story or something to go along with great gameplay and mechanics. And in State of Decay, I would applaud them for filling out where they are weakest and say the next one is even better because of it, whereas some people would use, the fact that we'd be asking for more as a reason to damage control what they don't have. It's just not my mentality. So I would say that hopefully they're working on something there. I needed a reason to care a little bit more about the narrative of State of Decay 2, because I just felt like, okay, well, I go here and shoot plague hearts and waste all my ammo, and that's the story. Like, I felt like I needed a little bit more motivation.
Or I don't want my character to die because I spent so much time building them. Like, that was your motivation. Like, you're not looking to find out why.
It wasn't really your motivation, though. Like, that was actually a motivation not to go to the plague hearts, because I built this character up. You want me to go here and shoot this thing, waste all my stuff, possibly get my character killed, just to destroy this thing, 1 out of 50 or whatever. Like, a good narrative serves as a reason to push you through trials and tribulations and risk those types of things. Whereas I felt like it was more of it wasn't really worth risking those things as it was in State of Decay 2. And this is somebody who enjoys State of Decay 2. So I hopefully they find a cool, compelling way, and they have a lot more time on this one. That's for sure. Well, they'll have 4 or 5 years by the time it comes out. So, and they've over doubled the size of their team already. So, we will see.
Yeah, 30 to 100. So almost tripled, which is crazy. I don't know. I just want them to improve the visuals, and I want the animations. I don't want the character going while he rifles through a drawer and it's just got a sound and there's a little circle. Like, there's things in Days Gone, like he puts a K-bar knife into the hood, pops it, and rifles in there and pulls out a part. Like,
pulls out a 71 Metascore. Am I right? Just kidding.
Turbo Laz won with the $5. Says, what game got... Go Dogs!
Go ahead.
Yeah. What was his name? Deacon would be like, "What's that smell?
The smell's so bad!" He's like, throw it up in the corner. It's like, calm down, buddy.
Oh, I have so many stories from that game. When I left my motorcycle parked by a gas station and there's zombies all around, I couldn't get to them to get on the bike and get away, and I was in party chat like freaking out because I was gonna die. But anyway, no permadeath in Days Gone. But Turbo Laz with the $5 says, "What game got delayed? Sorry, I'm late. What did Phil say? Brief recap, please." Cool. This is the point where Dealer and I sit here and redo the whole 2-hour show. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, just watch the beginning of the show, and hey, let us know your thoughts in the comments afterwards.
Yeah, and there'll be timestamps or generalized timestamps about an hour after the show goes up. But yeah, we talked about that earlier. ZGL7 CGL7 twice. Says great show, 2 incredible content creators. He's talking about Dealer. Keep up the great work. And KY Bob with the $10. Thank you, KY Bob. He says, now KY Bob and I played a bunch of State of Decay as well together. He says, wow, when was the last time either of you guys did a 2-hour show? You seem to be headed that way. I love it. When we were on Rand and Jez's show, they had us hostage for about 6 hours, didn't they?
I was talking about Chick-fil-A on there, and they seem to be perfectly at home.
You could talk about food on Rand and Jez, talking about mayonnaise and food, and then you just keep going. Lord Onion, who's got a cool name. I love that name, Lord Onion. He says, I want to say I've been following you both for a while. Enjoy both your content. Keep it up, my brothers. You have Lord Onion's approval. Lord Onion approves. And Hargit Chani with the $2 says, just for your information, Ubisoft's annual revenue is $2.5 billion. Activision is $8 billion. Hargit is like so good with the numbers, but when I look at it, Ubisoft puts out the bigger games than Activision, from my opinion. You know what I'm getting. You mean
Dealer? The ones you're more personally excited for?
Yeah, and the more the games that we all love. Like, what has Activision put out lately besides Call of Duty Vanguard and
diarrhea? Not much.
I don't know. Like,
I've had diarrhea since Easter's. Yeah, they haven't put out shit since Easter's of last year, probably. Vanguard doesn't even count. It's kind of trash.
Yeah, like people didn't love it. So when you look at Ubisoft, like they're cranking out quality. They're cranking out good games. They got some cool stuff. But Lord Starkill with the $5 says great job by Game Pass, which some was considered to be not sustainable. Now there is Sony's, Ubisoft's, and EA's version of Game Pass. So yeah, it is good. It is good. People are happy with it. But Ubisoft Plus, we'll see what happens. And Dealer, thank you so much for being on the show. My technical difficulties and Xbox Obi says Dobby went wing.
Shout out to Xbox Obi, such a big Xbox YouTuber. He's on his way up.
Yeah. Check out his stuff. Hit the subscribe on Xbox Obi. He's no longer Obi-Wan FTW.
Actually, I was talking to him yesterday in a party, and he wasn't even on Xbox. He ain't been on Xbox in forever. He's a PlayStation guy now, so might want to go check Obi and make sure he's playing Xbox games. If he's gonna be an Xbox YouTuber, he should definitely play on Xbox and play those Xbox
some of those
games.
Guys doing? Take a screenshot and share it on Twitter. Say both.
Shout out to Obi though. Seriously, in all seriousness, good friend, and check out his channel. He did upload a video the other day, so go watch it. And none of you will probably do that, but you should.
And you can hit the dislike button, and nobody has to know.
You can go dislike the hell out of Obi's channel. Shit, you can give us 5 reasons why it's a good idea right now. Go Dogs.
GoDogs.com. So tell everybody what your plans are. Like, what do you just put out a video today, like, I don't know, 5-6 hours ago. Yeah. Tell
this is true. Yeah, you guys can go watch it, but I've kind of always understood that if people want to watch it, they will. Usually when I'm saying go check out something, I'm stalling and I'm trying to find a tab, or I'm trying to, hey, if you want to go watch it, you probably already have. But if you're not aware, I have uploaded a video today. It is my second one in a few days here, so that's 2 a week, and I'm on task here over the last couple of weeks. And I feel good about that.
Right?
Yeah, so we got a podcast every week. Real Deal Xbox podcast Tuesdays tomorrow. Supposed to have Rand Thor on, but he might have malaria. I have no idea. We'll find out. If Rand doesn't want to come on, or if he can't, do you want to fill in for him? Ask you on there, so you're under pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I got Colt locked in. Thanks, chat.
So I'm pretty sure I'll be on tomorrow knowing Rand, but yeah, I heard he hasn't been feeling too well, but knowing Rand, he will make it through no problem, but I hope he is doing okay as he suffers through being not.
As he suffers through like reading his books, hanging from hooks
and if
from
he's
the
not
ceiling.
suffering, I'll send him Nano's amazing poem. He's reading his books.
And he'll read that off as his next podcast super chat sponsorship. But yeah, Colt was a member of RDX for years, known Colt forever, obviously. And, hey, we'll see you there tomorrow, guys. If you haven't checked it out, it's Tuesdays at 7 Central, God's time.
Who hasn't?
I don't know. Somebody. Go Dogs. And obviously, my last video, check that out if you haven't. Tell a buddy or two about what we do here, because as many of you turn up, I don't think anybody's really, as Xbox-centric as we are, I don't think anybody's really done what we're doing before. Just built up 2 channels talking about Xbox, Microsoft Notice, and
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
we are enabled through everybody that watches to give our opinions and review these games and engage with so many people. And it's all because of you guys. So I just want to say thanks. We're doing things that have never been done because of you guys. Didn't come from a corporate website or anything like that. We're
Right.
just two assholes with microphones. And you guys, rock out with us. So we appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow. And again, Colt, thanks for having me on, man. It's always fun.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for checking out the XNC podcast. This is a live show that is now ending here on YouTube for the night, but it will be up on Spotify, Google Pocket Podcasts. I still don't know what Pocket Podcast is. Apple
It is on
Podcasts,
there.
but I think it's popular. But there are like 6 podcast platforms that the show will post up in about an hour or so. I'll try and get the timestamps in the for people who came in late and missed some of the news. So thanks so much, Dealer. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll probably see you tomorrow on Xbox before we do the show.
Yes,
But
sir.
thank you so much. Guys, we're out of here. Have a good night. And tell your grandma, watch Dealer's video. We're out of here.
Go dogs.